the rumor is usually there are 4, sometimes 5. We've even had as many as 6 people on the show before. Oh, look who decided to grace us with his presence finally. Yeah, welcome to the show. We're only, a day late to college. He doesn't even have a earphone. Look at this shit. You know what? I'll just go ahead and play the opening theme.
West Cork Beard Company make beard oil and beard balm for a strong, healthy, great-looking beard. Handmade from all natural ingredients in Clonakilty, West Cork. Check out their YouTube channel for beard care tips and advice, or catch them online at westcorkbeardcompany.ie.
We back, baby. We back. Beside me is Stan the Man. Stan, how are you, sir?
Good, mate. Good to be back. Got a lot to talk about this week, I think, since we were last all together.
Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks. Below him is Glenn in New York. So, Glenn, what's up? Nice hat, by the way.
I have to pee. I'm sorry, I have the bladder. My bladder's the size of a shot glass. Just throw it over to that extra from Spartacus next to me.
Ryan, that would be you. What's up? Thanks for gracing us
Spartacus.
Did he just what?
Huh?
Did you just say who the fuck is Spartacus?
Yeah.
You don't know
Sparta, like the 300 guy? Yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah, close enough. Fair, yeah, we'll take it. Gary is in the chat moderating for us. Ryan Cost is in there. MFB was early. Make sure you keep the Zoom meeting volume turned down there for me. MFB. Stan, who else you see in there? Anybody else yet?
Scott Borg. I've not seen Scott in the chat before.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scott Borg's the man. I chatted with him on Twitter Space a few times. Good dude.
And,
knows his stuff.
BX Gunner 81 as well. And MFP.
Yep.
So some regular faces as well. And some newcomers.
Riddy Sarkar just jumped in. Rahul just jumped in. They're regulars around these parts of town. So we're 17 days away from kickoff of the new season, guys. I guess, Stan, I'll start with you. Just it's the dog days of summer, as the show title says, and not really a whole lot going on. We've had a few incoming transfers. Ben White should be supposedly taking his medical tomorrow. So I would imagine he'll get announced Thursday or Friday, as long as that's all up to snuff. Nuno Tavares looked good against Rangers, and Albert Sambi-Lokonga. People couldn't wait to big him up after Saturday's game against Millwall. But just overall on the summer, general thoughts on things thus far.
Well, as I said a few times, I'm one of those that no matter what goes on, what gossip there is, what signings there are, until the window shuts, that's when I'll know what it is that we've got. I will say that my concern isn't sort of like who's coming in and links and stuff like that. I'm more concerned about there are still some faces hanging about that I would really like to see, gone. I'm kind of worried that we'll be starting next season with Xhaka still in the team, Willian still in the team. We've still got Eddie and Ketia sat on the bench. That's what I'm more worried about. Said Kolasinac still being part of the squad. So there's a few faces for me that I would like to see go. And obviously the money that they can bring in as well can go towards what we need. The signings that we've made so far, players that I don't really have that much experience about. I don't know anything about Sambi-Lokonga really, only from what I've started to hear since the links, and seeing a friendly. The same with Tavares, the left back. Nice to score in your debut. Cedric scored in his debut as well. Which was you know, it was a more competitive game. Gabriel, he scored in his debut as well, right? So it's nice to see a player score in their debut. But I'm sure as we move into the show, we'll talk a little bit more about some of the links. You know, there were some links that I'm really pleased to hear. Who knows whether there's anything in them? There are other links where I'm just like, what you talk? Please no, you know. So yeah, I'll leave it there for now. So until the window shuts, I'm not really going to pass comment of the business that we've done. But I'm really concerned about there's some of the, as people like to call it, dead wood that still have to be moved, and there doesn't seem to be any sniffs. Again, Lucas Torreira, what's happening there? You know, is he going to be a part of the Arsenal squad next season? There doesn't seem to be any sniffs, any nibbles, no gossip about him at all.
Yeah, and I brought him up. I brought him up on Twitter here a few nights ago. I think over the weekend I mentioned his name, and I said the exact same thing that you just said about him. I'll digress there for a moment, and Glenn, I'll give you your say, just like I gave to Stan. What are your thoughts so far? Is anything jumping out at you?
First of all, since Stan and I always eventually disagree, I want to throw out some props to him. I love when he pulls stats out of his ass. Cedric, Gabriel, I totally agree with you. Here's what I got to say. August 31st is the transfer deadline. Anybody remember the movie Roadhouse? Be nice until it's time to not be nice. I don't want to. I don't want to go shit all over people who are enjoying the preseason and enjoying all of this craziness, you know, with Ben White and now the talk of what's his name, Lauren, whatever. Just let me know. Like I said last time we talked, unless an article says Arsenal signed, I don't read it. So I'm trying to stay patient and not shit all over people who are happy about the new season, you know, and excited no matter, you know, think the transfer window's fine now. I don't want to get all up in, you know what I'm saying?
Ryan?
Glenn, I'm going to take a shot in the dark here and say your favorite movie is Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
That's a good movie.
Is it?
That's a really good movie.
You dressed the part.
Ryan, hang on a minute. Hey, Glenn, you play pretty good for a blind boy.
Oh, I love you guys know all these obscure references. I totally dig it. But let Ryan go.
Yeah, Ryan.
Ryan's chomping at the bit here. You know, Ryan, you're one of the reasons I'm not complaining about Ben White because you were up in him so much.
Yeah. My first thoughts about, the transfer and like that. My emotion, I can sum it up in this T-shirt right here. I got it. It's pretty dope. Take me to Pleasure Town, baby. Xhaka, my boy. And the unicorn prop in the back. I can't count like there. Anyways, I know what he's gonna do. Anyways, I guess again to sum up more of how I feel. Going to my beer of the week, and it's pretty simple here. It's double IPA, Big Cranky. I don't even know who does this. Stony Creek. Oh, Stony Creek. I've been to Stony Creek. Yeah, Big Cranky because no one's happy. Let's face it. Everyone's upset. Something's not right. We want this. We don't want that. And to be fair, going along with Stan's point, I'm cranky too because we haven't sold anybody yet. And the last 3 or 4 transfer windows, yeah, there it is. He got naked. He got naked to show us your back. Anyways. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's a little tat. It's a little tat.
Flesh.
But yeah, no. So yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not in the nicest of moods. I guess as far as our outgoings. But like Scott said, we wait till the last minute. Wobie, we had no clue Wobie was leaving. I mean, we kind of did like a day or two, but it happened at the last minute. And I want to give this team time. I see the direction that we're going, and that's encouraging. Although I won't lie, and I've said this on Twitter. I've said it on other stuff, but a team like Man U, their signings do scare me. And having such a, I'll be honest, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not a good manager. I think Arteta is a better manager. And I don't want to compare Arteta and Ole Gunnar, but the fact remains, I don't think he's a good manager. I don't think goalie or the OGS is not a good manager. And the fact they're still bringing in these high marquee signings, it worries me because we're going down the young route and we have a lot of promise, and I'm excited for Lakanga. I'm excited for Ben White. Even to an extent, I think Nuno Tavares could prove to be more helpful than people think. Not saying he's going to take over Tierney's spot or anything like that, but I think he'll help more than the average fan base says. But I just think, again, it's a constant work in progress, and I think the thing that gets me, I mean, you take outgoings out of it because obviously, like, that's always my thing. I want these Deadwood people to leave, but our biggest piece of business is our partner for party, and I think that's the most important thing. And I get it, something like that does take time, but we've been linked with so many different variations, different styles of player to play next to party. Nieves, Basuma, they're two different players, but both of them have been linked to play next to party. So, and then I'm sure we'll get into this too. It also depends on how we want to, tactically set up for games, because there's talk of us going to a 4-3-3, which I actually do not hate. I actually really like it. And 11s that I've been kind of drawing up on my spare time, I kind of don't dislike it, and I'm interested to see. And again, it all pins on the fact, who are we going to sign to sit next to Partey.
Something I keep seeing a lot of stuff on Twitter about people that are excited for the new season to start, and then those people, but then those people being told that they're overly positive, and now they're part of that overly positive part of the fan base that are like, well, if you lose 3-0, it's like, well, at least we didn't lose 4-0. So we really, there's no rational. I don't see a whole lot of rational Arsenal fans. They're either the extremely positive, everything the club does and touches is gold. Then there's the those who shall not be named parts of the fan base that just get the views and the likes because they're just overly negative. The club could win the quadruple and it still wouldn't be enough because they didn't fly to the moon to do it. So let me ask you this, Stan. Are you excited for the new season to start? And if so, what is generating the excitement?
I think for me, we're finally on the home stretch now for me of where my opinions are going to be on the guy that's our manager, because I always said that it was going to be around about October that I think for me personally that I would be able to judge him. For me, that's enough windows. That's enough opportunity. That's enough time to stamp your identity on a team since he's come in till about October. So I'm looking forward to the season to start to see where we're going now. I've been told that, I've been asked by Arsenal to trust the process. Well, I'd like to think that when this season starts, the process should be in full swing by now with the time that this manager has been here. And I should be able to sit back and understand what that process is. And I'll probably have to wait until, as I say, that transfer window shuts and we see where the dominoes fall and we see what the club's managed to do with moving out the dead wood and with the new faces that they bring in. And then we're off. There's no excuses for how we play. Even if he hasn't been able to bring in the players that he wanted, then that's down to them for not finding a plan B or a plan C and bringing in the right bodies to fill the gaps of where we need. Because it would seem at the moment that, well, the sort of money that we're kicking about to spending on some people, it would appear that we're not literally walking around cap in hand. It appears that we do have some cash. I don't know how much it is, but there appears to be money there. So we should be able to bring in enough people so that we've got a squad ready to go.
For me, and I don't begrudge anybody being happy or excited about the season, but I'm not. The team is not complete yet. I see a lot of great YouTube channels now doing prediction videos for the season. I'm like, what? This better not be the finished team, so I can't get excited about that. But I don't begrudge or stereotype people that want to be excited about the season. I mean, Leicester proved years ago that anything is possible. And, these people, a lot of them, they hold on to their excitement for different reasons. Fresh season, fresh start. Oh, look at our record since Christmas of last year. I don't like that theory, but I'm just putting it out there. So yeah, I can't be excited about this unfinished product. You're telling me, oh, you're going to finish the basement. Come down, take a look what we did so far. Oh, you swept? Okay. so that's just the way I feel. Everybody feels different.
Yeah, well said. I feel different. I'm excited because I get to watch them again. It's funny. So when I moved to Connecticut from Long Island, I joined as like a pickup soccer group, and I would drive like a half hour to go play. And every time I would go, the day of, I would get so excited. I can't wait to play. Like I love playing. It's a lot of fun. And then at the end of it, well, really during it, I would just be yelling because people just think that they're better than they are. And, I'm also very competitive. Who would have thought? And I'm always yelling and getting angry, and I'm kind of a dick. Again, who would have thought? And I always leave angry. And Megan always says, like, why do you go? Like, I don't understand. You get so angry, you get so agitated. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't get it. But then, like, again, like the week of, I'm like excited. I'm like, I can't wait to play. It's just, I mean, I guess it's a little different in the fact that I'm watching the team play, but I don't know. I love, it's my team. It's the team I support. I love watching them play. We have a lot of positive things going our way. And I guess I want to be positive and say that the fact that, we aren't complete and our puzzle isn't done. And I know there's going to be more signings and departures. So, yeah, I'm just excited to get the season underway and excited to watch, Premier League football because it's always fun. And to be fair, too, podcasting about Arsenal is more fun during the season than like speculating and talking about transfers. I don't know. This off season, this lull is just it's boring to me. So I'm excited for the season to start for multiple reasons.
And hence the title of the show, The Dog Days of Summer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I asked the question because I find myself, I'm very much in the same boat that Ryan is with this. It's just like it's we're playing again, and as much as it's almost like hitting myself in the head with a hammer. When we play like shit, like we did to start the year last year. If I stop, it'll stop hurting. If I stop doing this, but I'm like, am I excited just because we're going to be back in 17 days? And, the squad, the talent, and all of that be damned. I just want to watch Arsenal again. Or am I legitimately excited about what is going on with the club? The three transfers that we've brought in. And it seems like there's an idea here. It seems like there's a plan in place. And I don't have the answer to – I haven't decided on one or the other yet. I'm definitely excited just because I'm like Ryan. I just want Premier League football back. I just want the Arsenal back, and I want to play. I want to watch the games. I want to do this because, as Ryan said, doing the shows in the season are infinitely more fun because they always give us something to talk about at the very least.
And I think we can all agree that we're not going to lose or draw every game, all 38 games. We're going to win a couple, one or two maybe, at least. So we're going to see positives this season, whether there's one or two or 20 or 30. We're going to see positives. So I guess I'm excited for that. And again, I know we always say it's the hope that kills you, but there will be positive things. There are things to be excited about. There will be things going on during the season that are going to be good and positive for the team, of the fans. The problem is it's just, I feel, it's always a losing battle because it's never enough. If we're not winning the league, if we're not doing this, if we're not winning, I guess we can't win the quadruple, but if we win the treble, it's never enough. So I think that's like a constant battle with the fan base. But I mean, I guess I am one of those positivity fans, but I'm not though. Like for everyone that knows me, I'm really not always that positive, but It's the unknown, and I'm really excited for Smith Rowe, for Saka, for Pepe, for Partey, for even Lokonga. Even though I don't really think he's going to start games, but I think he's going to prove to be a Guendouzi-esque type player. In the fact that when we brought Guendouzi in, we were like, okay, like maybe he'll better the academy and maybe he'll play for us in a couple of years. He had such a great preseason for us. He came right into the team, right into the first team right away. So I think Lokonga can make that impression. Will he start for us? Probably not. But I mean, for as of this very moment, he might. Who's arguing El Nani starting over him? Probably me and maybe Stan. That's probably it. So it's just a lot of positive things.
With me, Arsenal is the road runner, and I'm Wile E. Coyote. I'm expecting them to. I'm expecting them to bring in a couple of big names. I got excited because about a week and a half ago, Harry from Chronicles of a Gooner broke that Odegaard is not dead, even though he said goodbye. And I was like, "Ooh, I really rate Odegaard." And he came out yesterday ahead of all the headlines today that Odegaard's not happy. It makes sense. He's telling people he wants. So, if we got Odegaard and someone to play next to Partey, I would be thrilled about this upcoming season. But right now, and I'm sorry to be negative, best case scenario, I see a 6th place. That's not acceptable for Arsenal Football Club.
Wow.
Yeah,
so you're just going to dive into the prediction show that we were going to do.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm kidding.
And I think that's fair too. When you look at the bigger picture, the long run of things, it's like, yeah, if all we're going to get out of all this hoopla is 6th place, which I actually agree with you, Glenn. I think right now this team will finish probably 6th. But I don't know. I think we're not done. We're not done making signings. We're not done departing players. And I also too, I'm selfish. I don't want to say I don't want to say I'm the Smith FC, but I'm such a I love Emile Smith Rowe, and I just want to watch him develop. And to me, that's almost half the fun. Yeah, we could be bad. We're going to have bad stretches, but watching him develop as a player, I think he's going to be. I just think he does. The simplicity is just. It's just great, and I love to watch it. And sometimes, my Spanish teacher in 8th grade always said to me, "Keep it simple, stupid," and that's what he does. And it opens up so many doors for us. And I'm excited to watch him grow as a player and help transform this team because we will be better. This year will we make it a Champions League? I don't know. Right now, probably not. But I think we have the pieces in this team to really make a run and really be a competitive team for the title in a few years. The problem is no one wants to wait. To be fair, I don't really want to wait either. Cool. I hate going back to them, but going back to Man U, Sancho's great. Young guy. He's in the same boat, but they signed Rohan. It's like, well, okay. They have an idea. Okay. We kind of want to win now too. So that, I'm a little jealous of that, to be fair. But I don't know. I think there's just so many players on our team that I just love. I want to watch them grow, almost like a dad watching a kid grow up, learn how to walk, learn how to hit your first baseball, kick your first football, and all that stuff. I'm just excited. I'm excited for those little moments that we're gonna see with Saka, we're gonna see with Smith Rowe, we're gonna see with Martinelli. So, yeah.
So, a couple of people have asked in the chat. And I'll give you guys your say. If it came down to Maddison or Odegaard, who you taking?
I think they're both great players, but I would take Odegaard.
I don't know. I know this is real shocking. Again, it's probably going to be my love.
Ryan, hang on. You know what? Let me go back to think about it. Let me go back to Glenn real quick. Why Odegaard, Glenn?
I just think that he has more untapped potential. It's just about to be unleashed, and I want it to be unleashed at Arsenal. I really, really dig him. When he said goodbye to Arsenal, I took him off my FIFA 21 team. I was so angry.
Tears rolling down his face.
I was like, I don't want to.
Whitney Houston, I'll always love you playing in the background from
I was the master using him. But I just think while they're both terrific players, I think Odegaard can really be something super special.
Ryan, or do you want me to go to Stan first?
No, I mean, to be fair, I don't think I would have a legit answer when after Stan goes. I'm just such a big admirer of ESR, as I'll probably just jack him off all show. I don't really care if we get either of them, to be honest. But if I had to choose, I would definitely go with Odegaard. I think Maddison's a great player. I always called him Jack Grealish Jr. I really like what he's done with Leicester. I think he works better with an Aubameyang type striker. With he has Vardy, but I just with his injury record and just I don't know if Maddison's going to be able to make that next step. I want to say because he's great for Leicester, but I think he needs to take another step to really make us a real contender in the Champions League, in the Premier League, and I don't know if he can make it. Whereas I think Odegaard can make that step. And I think, all the stuff I've been hearing about how he loves London, he loves Arsenal, he was upset to go. I think he'll wear the badge of pride. I think he'll represent the team and the club well. And I think he'll play for the badge, which is a lot more than you could say about half the guys on the team right now. So, I think just having that little taste of Odegaard, it leaves me wanting more.
Stan?
I'm just laughing at Tony's comment there that old Jeff Garrett, old slap nuts himself, would be jealous of Glenn's jacket. Jeff Garrett, yeah, good call.
Slap nuts. Well, I forgot about that one. That's a good one.
Slap nuts. But here's the thing, right? If we were to buy James Maddison, where are we going to play him? Because I read just a few days ago an interview with James Maddison, who, according to him, he's a number 8.
Yep.
He's not a number 10. He said that he doesn't play at number 10 that often and hasn't played that position for quite some time, and that his favourite position is a number 8. So would that not mean then that he could probably sit next to the party? Because it sounds to me that, according to James Maddison, him and Odegaard are really going to be deployed to be doing different things. However, I mean, you look at Maddison, his stats, he's just the one behind Kevin De Bruyne for creativity. It's Kevin De Bruyne, then it's Maddison, which is quite a nice stat. But I'm a big Odegaard fan. I think he has maybe the highest ceiling because of his age. I just hope that if we got Odegaard, we wouldn't be a stepping stone. So that he's 22 now, he wouldn't be leaving us when he's 24, 25, and just coming into his peak. If we're going to get him, I'd like to be able to keep this guy, because like Glenn says, I think that he's just about to something's just about to maybe happen with him. And I watched a lot of documentaries about Martin Odegaard from his youth. For some reason, they decided to start filming this kid quite early and having his coaches talk about him and what he's like. And they're out there on YouTube, and it sounds like that. His talent has been seen by a lot of people with an eye that knows what they're supposed to be looking at. So, I mean, if 70 million for James Maddison, what are you talking, 50 million, 40 million for Odegaard? Is there really that much of a vast difference that warrants 20, 30 million? I don't know. I think that if I was had to choose one, I think I would probably choose Odegaard. I like what I've seen.
Toot, I'm on board with you, Stan. You can throw Maddison. You can throw Maddison next to Partey. I would be a happy camper. I would be excited about the season. As far as my jacket shirt, I got it from the Dale from the Walking Dead collection.
You gave off Fear and Loathing vibes, but I guess Dale from Walking Dead makes sense too.
No, I'm just. That was the first thing I pulled up. Shut up! Don't ruin the joke. It's ruined already. Go ahead, Ryan.
But it's funny though. Stan brings up a good point, and I did want to touch on this. Is what are we? How are we going to set up the season? Are we going to be 4-3-3? Are we going 4-3-2-1? Because if we're going 4-2-3-1, to me it's easily it's like 100% Odegaard. You'd be not an idiot to want Maddison, but it doesn't make sense. But if we're going 4-3-3, I wouldn't hate. I don't know. It becomes a tougher conversation for me to have. But to me, my 2 8s, I would probably want either Xhaka or ESR or ESR Partey. I mean, so Odegaard or Maddison doesn't really come to the conversation for me either. So I don't know. It's tough because you want depth and we want to upgrade positions and we want to obviously upgrade the team as a whole. But then it's like we only have a certain amount of games. We're not in Europe. So it's these decisions are going to be interesting because of that very reason. Like, does Arteta want us to be a 4-3-3 team? I don't hate it. If we want to be creating more, attacking more, that might actually be the way to go. But again, I think it just all comes down to who we sign to sit next to Partey or to sit in front of our back four, whichever formation we decide.
I need to ask a follow-up to you, Ryan. So you're willing to throw all – I respect the ESR. I rate him highly too. But you're willing to throw all the eggs in the basket with him as the starting number 10?
I don't want to – yes and no. Yes in the fact that, like, I think he could do it. Injuries have been an issue. I get that. But I think my whole point is I'm more concerned about Partey's partner – or again, who's in front of the back four. I don't care about the 10. We have a 10. We have an 8. Like it's again, to me, it's a little. I'm getting to this too, and it's going to be a little different, but it's almost like the Chambers argument. We have it already. I'm not going to argue the Chambers thing. I'm sure we'll talk about that later, but we have a 10. I think ESR is going to be a world-class player. I think we gave him the number 10 shirt for God's sakes. Like, we obviously think highly of this player, and we plan on using him a lot. So I don't understand why we're worrying about Maddison and Odegaard. I'm worried about I want Basuma. I'm gonna get this thing trending. I swear. Hashtag Boner for Basuma. I want Basuma. That's all I care about. If we get Nieves, will I be upset? Yeah, a little bit, but I just think that's more of a concern to us right now, and that I think that is the cog to our machine. That is the piece that is the most important piece this summer, because let's face it, Xhaka's leaving. I know talks are stalling, this, that, and the other thing. Roman's trying to play hardball with us. He's not going to be here. And if some miracle he is here, he's not going to be any good use to us.
Did Ryan just say it would be a miracle if Granit Xhaka were here?
If he stays, yeah. I don't think he's. You
think
he's staying?
I was saying that more like Miracle on 34th Street kind of thing.
Okay, well, you look like Santa, so it makes sense.
I think the reason Xhaka's taking so long is because everybody's trying to squeeze every last dollar out of their transactions because they lost so much money over the last year.
Yep.
So it's going to happen. I'm not worried about it.
Stan, we need cover though because everything that Ryan's saying about Emile Smith-Rowe, and not really, and it's interesting the Maddison thing about being an 8, not a 10, but. We need cover for Emile Smith-Rowe, don't we? So let me throw another name out there because he seems to be the other name that sort of falls in with the other two, and it was last summer as well. But it's Houssem Aouar from Lyon. Is he the cover? Could he be at £30 million? Could he be cover for Emile Smith-Rowe? And like I said, Ryan, I agree with you. I think ESR is the guy in that role, but we need cover for him.
The thing is, with ESR, it doesn't have to be this or the other, because a lot of people felt that when we brought Martin Odegaard in on loan, that it was like, is he going to start impeding ESR? He's just coming through. But what we actually saw that there were many times when they managed to dovetail very nicely together. Odegaard could move out to wider areas on the right. ESR is equally as comfortable on the left. So they're very flexible players. I don't think it has to be one or the other. However, I don't think that as much as we love ESR, I don't think he's at the stage yet where he can do it all on his own. He does need to have somebody else that plays the same position as him. If we're going to play a formation that has a number 10, there has to be somebody else who can come in and share the load, whether it's for rotation, injuries. If ESR gets injuries, then what we're doing. So we do have to have, I think, someone else in there. And I'm looking at the squad that we currently have. I don't know if there's anybody who could fill that gap. Is Joe Willock an out-and-out number 10? I'm not so sure. I don't think so. Who else is there? So we would, maybe we could start using Saka there, because I still think that there's a place for Saka to play in the middle as well. But, if all of the midfielders that are supposed to be leaving leave, Xhaka, Guendouzi, Lucas Torreira, I don't know if I'm missing anybody else, but I think that we then need the partner for Partey, because I don't think it's going to be Albert Lokonga straight away. I don't think he's walking straight into the team, no matter how good he looked in the pre-season friendly. We need we need at least, I think, a minimum another 2 midfielders. We need someone that's going to come in and replace Xhaka. We need someone that's going to help us in a creative area to help ESR, like I've just said. We've got a Lokonga. There's an argument that there could be room for another one, because midfield is quite an area that, you know, you have to have some players to rotate, unless we're going to start promoting people and we're going to see people like Aziz. But we don't have these kind of games for these players, right? Are we going to risk Aziz in a Premier League game or an FA Cup game? Because we don't have any, Europa. And you've only got those very early rounds in the Carabao Cup. You know, if you've got like a lower opposition that you can risk rolling the dice and putting a few young heads out, but they're not going to get as many minutes. So there's an argument that we could be looking for 3 midfielders, excluding Sambi Lokonga. You know,
look, I see the potential in Lokonga, but this is Arsenal Football Club. It's not rebuilding. Oh, let's just hope for top 10. I want some solid studs in there. And I'm holding my temper because August 31st is still a long while away.
Yeah, that's a good shout about Aziz, by the way. I always forget about him. I think he's gonna be such a player for us. But I think him and Balogun, I think, are in the same boat. They need, well, it depends what we do as far as strikers are concerned. But I think Aziz definitely needs a loan. He needs to get tested in the championship, or maybe Premier League. I don't think a Premier League team's going to pick him up and play him all the time. So I think he should definitely get tested in the championship and see what he's worth. Because he's definitely someone that could maybe play with Lokonga, you know, in a few years' time. Well, you know, we'll see.
Is there any chance that Aziz gets some of the early round games in the Carabao Cup? Could you see that happening?
I can.
I mean, depending on the competition, because obviously if we draw someone, Leicester's the first team that popped into my head because I think
not necessarily Aziz, but maybe somebody else from that squad. You know,
is Sambi Lokonga that guy right now that would get the start there if someone else like a Basuma were to come in? That would sort of knock Sambi Lokonga down a peg or two in terms of the depth chart, right? But Aziz, I'm seeing a lot of things about him too, and I think, okay, what if we drew, in whatever our opening round of the League Cup would be, but we draw Portsmouth or Plymouth Argyle, or Blackpool, somebody like that, a League One side, or a lower tier championship side, baby. And I wouldn't have a problem with giving Miguel Aziz a run out in a game like that.
Again, it just comes down to who we sign. I think signing Partey's partner is like the most important piece. It's gonna move so many balls in motion. It's gonna be interesting to see what we do, because in my opinion, I think we hold on to Aziz, we play him early in the Carabao Cups, give him, even if it's like a half or like 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there, get him that experience with the first team, get him kind of integrated. And then we loan him out in January when we're not going to have any game. We're not going to have any Carabao Cup games. Are going to be really not that important.
Where he could play.
Yeah.
Well, Carabao Cup will be, the League Cup's done in January.
Yeah.
So we won't have that. The next thing would be the FA Cup.
Yeah. And I think that's the move. Question is, we need a substantial team to come, like a team, a championship level team, to come in for him and be like, yeah, we'll play him. And usually those are tough to come by in January. But I think to me that's the move. But again, it all depends on who we sign, and that's why I don't like how we leave our transfer business up to the last minute, because then we're sent scrambling, and then we don't know what we're doing. Players like Aziz, players like Reece Nelson. Although, to be fair, his loan last season was his undoing, not the club's. These players just get forgotten. And then it's like, well, now we're left with egg on our face, getting rid of a young guy that could potentially be good for, not even 20 mil.
The other thing, I don't know if it gives me hope or I laugh at it. I think it's a little bit of both. But I read an article, a Kroenke interview a couple of months ago, and he literally said the two crown jewels in the teams he owns are the Rams and Arsenal. And I'm like, then freaking do something if that's true. So let's see. They know that the fans are at the knife's edge. We're angry, but we're holding it back, a lot of us, and they're going to do something. I really believe that. And if this is another tunnel painted with black paint that I'm going to slam my face into like Wile E. Coyote, fine. But I have to believe that there is something to people coming, because like Ryan says and like Stan says, we need in the middle and we need a number 10.
So circle back around to something that a few of us have mentioned before. Lucas Torreira.
Is it true he doesn't want to be here? I don't know what to believe. The media is so lame. I don't know. If it's true that he doesn't want to be here, then get out. And I love him. I absolutely love him.
Well, but let's Ryan, go ahead and tell everybody why Lucas Torreira might not want to be here.
There's a lot of things.
I think you know what I'm getting.
Yeah. I said this on multiple shows, and there was a lot of rumors going around. I've heard from multiple different people, so I'm inclined to believe it's true that he's constantly teased in training and made fun of, and didn't like it too much. And if everyone could take a wild guess on who would be teasing him, yeah, that's right, class. Although the class says Ozil in unison, you are all correct. So yeah, the fact that he's gone though, the fact that Ozil's gone though, maybe that opens. Maybe Arteta can put his arm around him and convince him to stay. But I also think there's other factors. Doesn't like the weather, doesn't really like London. And he came out in, I believe it was an interview a few days ago. I saw it on Twitter somewhere or on Reddit. I don't remember. I saw it. He had to hire a psychiatrist because he was getting depressed because he wasn't playing football every day. He wasn't playing for Arsenal every day because we didn't use him all the time. Or I remember using him as a 10. That was fun. But he wasn't getting regular football. So he had to go to a psychiatrist and see help because just mentally he just wasn't there. Confidence-wise, he wasn't there. So, that could take a lot on someone, a toll on someone. I don't know. I think he's fully checked out. I don't see a way him coming back. And it's a shame. I agree. I'm a big Torreira guy. I really like him. I think he could be our Basuma. But, just all these factors, it's rough. And I just it's like one of those things where I really liked him as a player. I just want him happy. And if it means him going to, where is he? The Boca Juniors, is that where he wants to go?
Yeah.
Then let's send him there because I want him happy. He's had a tough go. His mom passed away from COVID. I think it was in the middle of, or towards the end of this last season, or maybe it was after. No, I think it was the end of the season. But yeah, it's a shame. But we need to make a move on him because you can't the situation that is Torreira. That's not the kind of player you can convince to stay. He'll just be going through the motions. And what is that? How useful is that to us? It's not useful at all. So I think in that case, you just got to get rid of him.
Well, his downfall at Arsenal started with Unai pushing him up the field. And I guess Arteta just doesn't rate him, So those two managers knocked him off mob style from the team. To get him for 10 million would be a bargain. If I don't know what is it the asking price. Anybody know what the asking price for Torreira is? I rate him, and if I were a team looking for a midfielder that is excellent defensively, especially for his size, I spend 10 million on Torreira.
Stan, you and I think we're in utter agreement on this one.
But here's the thing, right? There's some of the places where he would like to play. He wants to go and play for a team in Uruguay. He wants to go and play for Boca Juniors or whatever, right? They ain't going to give us 10 million.
Yep.
They don't have 10 million to give.
Yeah.
So where he wants to go, where he would like to play, doesn't really come into it. Arsenal want a return on what their investment was, which is about somewhere between 20 to 25 million euros. I think we may have spent on him, and I think there's definitely a player in there because I've seen him play in the flesh, as have you, Tanner. You know, and I've watched him in the other games that I attended a game where I saw him. I was very impressed. North London derby. I just find it amazing that, yeah, that's sirens. That's me, man. Sorry about that.
I was wondering, but I didn't want to interrupt you. Please finish.
For me, man. But fucking hell, they really are out.
I was like, it's either Pittsburgh, Vancouver, or Connecticut.
You won't hear the sirens where I'm at.
They'll just come in through the roof, break down Tanner's door.
Yeah, SWAT coming down.
Yeah.
But what amazes me the most, or surprises me the most, is that while Lucas Torreira had his time at Arsenal, he had two managers that spoke his mother tongue. You know, it wasn't like, you know, he came in and he had like Alan Pardew or Sam Allardyce. You couldn't understand what the fuck they wanted. You know, what was he talking about? He had two managers that spoke his mother tongue. And, you know, Mikel Arteta had a reputation that he's really good with the young players at Man City. I find it hard that no one was able to make him feel at home. Mm-hmm. You know, couldn't Mikel have said, like, I tell you what, Lucas, you're feeling homesick. From now on, Wednesday nights are paella nights. Mrs. will cook it up. You'll come round, allow us place at the table. We can eat with the kids. You know, I can't believe that they could not make him feel at home, because it sounds that he comes from a humble upbringing. He doesn't come from a rich family. You know, I think he comes from a place called Fray Bentos, right? And those of you listening from England all know that for us in England, that's a company that makes pies. I didn't even know it was a place, but he comes from there, right? And I would imagine that the kind of salary that he's earning playing in Europe, even before he came to us and playing at Arsenal, it probably goes some way. So I don't understand what the issue is. But again, there's no sniffs, there's no nibbles. We're not hearing any rumours. He's on his holidays at the moment. You know, I'm playing. I don't even know if he's going to come back from his holiday. I think he might go AWOL.
Yeah, I just to add to what Stan said, which I agree with everything you said. You remember his first season here. He said that the supporters made him feel like he's been here forever, and he was so happy with the love he was getting. He said that in the newspapers.
You're right.
You know.
But again, it's not the fans. It's it's genuinely. I think it's the weather. He said multiple times it's going to be a lot to get used to this weather. He did not like the weather, and that's a bit from Uruguay to. Or even Italy. Italy's different than England.
Well, fucking that.
No, but there are people, and I know people who, like, the weather generally affects their moods. If it's crappy out and it's raining out, they're legit depressed, and there's nothing they can do about it. They just can't help it. So maybe it's something like that. And then when you're getting teased by the three amigos of Kolasinac, Ozil, and Mustafi, yeah, you're not gonna want to stay at Arsenal. You're not gonna want to be here. I don't blame him one bit. I don't care if Unai and Arteta speak Spanish to me every day. I wouldn't even care about Paella Tuesdays, you know.
Wednesday.
But I just
Wednesday.
yeah, okay. But yeah, I just think, you know, when you're getting, you know, ridiculed, the weather's not, you know, the best. He's a big family man, you know. There was a whole thing when his mom passed away, you know, so I think there's just too many things working against him as far as him staying here for right now. And it's a shame. Again, it's a shame. I love him. I'll never forget. I went to New York City, we played Huddersfield at the Blind Pig in New York City, and Torreira scored the only goal. I think it was Huddersfield. Torreira scored the only goal. We were singing. Yeah, you were there. You were there, Tanner.
85th minute. Yep.
We were the place went nuts when he scored. We were singing his song the rest of the game. We were singing his song in the streets. We had people in New York City honking at us. Me and my friends are going crazy, you know, so and he's not even known for he's not even known for his goals. I don't even care if he scores a single goal for Arsenal. You know, I want him to play right in front of our back four.
I wish some of the supporters in the UK that don't like us Americans could see what it's like at the Blind Pig on game day. It would change some minds if they saw that.
Yeah.
You know, that's all I'm going to say about that.
R.I.P. Blind Pig.
What?
Shout out.
Yeah, it's not doing
It's not
that
there anymore.
What?
They have games. Their bar is it's closer to Penn. I can't think of the name. It's like a 2-story bar. O'Hanlon's.
I haven't been there yet.
O'Hanlon's?
Maybe that might be it.
BX,
I went there
BX
once.
Gunner. Here, is that it?
Yeah. I think that was where it was. Funny enough, I went there to see them play the Scum. I think we drew, and then I proposed to Megan that day. So it was an interesting day.
Oh, I didn't know you were engaged.
Okay. I can't tell. See, I really can't tell if Glenn's kidding or not. That's like
I didn't know you were engaged. I would have given you my sympathies earlier. Stan, can I ask you? Stan, unlike you, I love England. I know you say you love when your plane leaves England, but when you lived there, when you lived there, what was a great pub to watch Arsenal in?
We used to like to watch it round someone's house a lot.
Oh, okay.
You know, they come around and that, and there's like a couple of couches, and everyone's like got their beers with them and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah, that's always better. I would prefer that over a pub too.
Okay.
Okay.
I've had a life where before I came to settle here in Canada, I had a life where with my previous job, I moved around a lot, so I was always trying to find a place. If I couldn't get it in where I lived in my accommodation, I would just find the nearest place. You know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, before lockdown, I used to enjoy going down the Library Square down in Vancouver, downtown. That's where I met a few friends. But it kind of messed everything up with lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I think ideally, we'd all love to watch the game with all of our friends who are hopefully Arsenal fans. But at least for me, you get those few people that don't really watch it, and you're like, "Who's that player? Who's that? What's going on? What are they doing? Why is this so boring? I can't deal with this." Like, you know what? I need to drown you out with some beers at the bar. Get out of my face. And no, Megan, I'm not talking about you. I promise. But yeah, is
she watching?
I don't think so. She's probably watching the Olympics.
Ew.
Sorry. I guess. But yeah, no. Yeah, I can't wait. Hopefully things are going well. We can start watching the games out in bars and all that. It's bringing me back. But yeah, anyways. As we take this huge tangent off from Torreira, I like it though.
He's
not the only one.
You were sending me all these memories of the Blind Pig, and I had to say something. You started.
I know. I have their shirts. I don't know where they are, but they shrunk on me. I didn't get big or anything. But yeah, no. And Torreira, Torreira's only one of the many players that are easily getting swept under the rug. Like an AMN. I mean, to be fair, even Willock, I don't know what's going on with Willock. There's talks. You're always invited. Always. Mike, you get the first invitation to the pants party every single day.
Is that the party without the pants?
Party with or without. It doesn't matter. You can be in the pants, out the pants. Doesn't really matter. It's the pants party.
Why would you want to go to a sausage festival? I don't understand. What are you talking about?
Who said there was a sausage festival?
A bunch of men dropping their pants. I'm sorry.
It's just two men. It's just two men. It's not a sausage party. It's like a sword fight.
Glenn, any port in the storm, sailor.
All right, I did a rhyme.
All right, we're done. We're done.
I apologize.
On.
I apologize.
Finish your thought, Ryan.
No, I mean I just and I don't know if you can kind of talk about this, but Willock's apparently Monaco is now interested in Willock and want to buy him. So I mean that'd be nice. It'd be interesting. Interesting spot for him if we can get a decent amount of change for him.
I'd rather loan him or keep him.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole nother discussion. To be fair, I think his value is not going to go any higher than it is right now. He's like a mirage. He's a myth.
No. I get it. I think for Arsenal to be successful, we have to be ruthless. Someone comes along, offers 25 mil, you got him.
Yeah, but it sucks because I'm again in Stan's boat. Constantly, we need to get rid of so many players, and there's so many players that aren't being linked anywhere. Obviously, I don't see us getting rid of Kolasinac. No one's gonna want his wages. He doesn't want to go anywhere because no one's gonna. It's just it's a shame because I feel like we're really making moves. We're really making some, headway as far as, upgrading this team, making this team younger, but yet still upgrading it and still making it better. But then you have like your Kolasinac's and your Xhakas. And to be fair, and I don't consider Willock, AMN, or even Torreira as dead wood, but like those are players where we have to do something. Something's got to be either we're loaning them out, we're loaning out obligation to buy, loaning out option to buy, or just loaning out, or just there has to be. There's no room on our first team roster for them this season, especially with the little amount of games we have.
I get the feeling, I know it doesn't happen very often, but I get the feeling there's a swap deal or two coming up along the line somewhere. I know they don't really do that, but it would make sense.
Well, Scum just did one.
Go ahead, Stan.
I don't understand how it kind of, when I look at the business that we're doing, it's all of this like, loan with a fucking obligation or an option. It's we'll do this, we'll do that. There don't seem to be any sort of like nibbles coming in. We're trying to say that Xhaka. A lot of people are saying that Xhaka was our best midfielder, our most consistent player last season, which I don't agree with. But if that's the case, apparently now we're being lowballed by Roma of how much they're saying that they want to pay for him. But then when it comes to us doing our business, we shell out 50 million for like a Ben White. No problem. There you go. We'll work that out. There you go. 50 million. Kids only played one season in the Premier League, but don't worry about it. Aaron Ramsdale, the goalkeeper. Oh, we need a backup goalkeeper. Let's get Aaron Ramsdale in and pay 30 million for that, which is, I hope we talk about that in a minute, because that to me, I just don't understand how are we going to pay 30 million for a backup keeper, which is about the same or maybe just a fraction more that we paid for our number one. It doesn't make any sense.
But I think that goes to show you that like all these like rumors where like Arteta's on a budget and like we can only spend a certain amount. It's probably close to bullshit, because I agree with you. If we're considering 30 mil on Ramsdale and we're signing Ben White when we can't get rid of these players, then you have to think like, okay, like we have some money to spend. We have some things to do, which makes me hopeful. But like, again, we need to sell. We need to get rid of some of these players.
When we look at what we're doing, and we look at a player like Nketiah, and you see how the team might be interested in him, and you see what they're quibbling about for how much they want to pay for Eddie Nketiah, who's got the British, got his British fucking bit that you put on there. He's got a record of scoring, the most records like Alan Shearer did as a kid for under this, that, or the other. He's got a little bit of buzz around him. And people want to buy him, but they want to pay us fucking threepence halfpenny to get him. And then we're linked to go spend like 40 million on a Tammy Abraham. And I'm just like, you know what? I'd rather keep Eddie Nketiah. I would rather keep one of our own and persevere with, Eddie Nketiah, and pay 40 million for Tammy Abraham. Now, I'm not saying that Tammy Abraham is a terrible player. 40 million? Really? And Odegaard Edouard, you could probably snatch him away for 25. I don't understand why we seem to be paying the premium money for players. 30 for Ramsdale, if that happens. 50 for Ben White. 40 for Tammy Abraham. Why aren't we getting these people with fucking lame deals and obligations? I'm getting at. Why aren't we like trying to lowball these teams like it seems to be that's happening to us for some of the players that we want to get rid of? It just seems a little bit awkward. Whoever's doing these deals, it looks like they need to go and buy that book off Amazon, Selling for Dummies. For dummies, negotiations for dummies.
Let me ask this relative to the backup goalkeeper situation. I don't want to spend 30 million on Aaron Ramsdale at all. I don't want to spend 30 million on a backup goalkeeper, because that is more than what we paid for our number one.
Exactly.
That's more than what we paid.
Well, I think the whole thing is the money. That money, he's going to be a number one eventually. So really, you're just. But I get the point you guys are making, and I agree with you guys. It's not just a backup, though.
I'll go to Glenn first on this.
What about Johnson from West? Was it Johnson from West Bromwich Albion? And someone just put it in there as well. MFB. I mean, surely that would be more viable.
Now, I'm going to throw an option out here, and I know everybody's going to lambaste me for this, But
Don't do it.
I think that it is especially this year, being where we are, or should I say not being where we want to be, meaning in Europe.
You think Kolasinac can play goalie for us?
Well, the first question I was going to ask is this. Let me throw this idea out there first. Is there any way that we could take Xhaka, Kolasinac, anybody else that we want to get rid of, Bellerin maybe, throw Eddie in there somehow with his feet? Could we do like a Voltron thing with these players and just like
package deal?
No. Like just sort of like try to fit them all together into one giant Voltron type thing, and they could just be the goalkeeper, the backup goalkeeper. You know what I'm like? Form, feet, and legs, and and I don't know. But anyway,
I would just say, hey, we want Ramsdale. How about you? You like Ainsley Maitland-Niles? Okay, let's do that. Even swap. All right. That's how little I care about the backup goalkeeper.
Well,
all right.
Okay. So Glenn, let me start with you then. If you and I'm not, this is not a knock on you. I'm please don't take it that way. But if you care so little about the backup goalkeeper, here's my idea. Let's just Okonkwo. He's the backup goalkeeper. They gave him a new contract. They gave him.
That's right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Why are we talking about a backup goalkeeper?
Well,
because they fucking told him that he's going to get plenty of time to learn his craft. He's the backup goalkeeper. So
here's my theory.
Glenn, he's 18.
So here's my
but go read the article. I was told I'm going to get lots of time to play. What, in the fucking playground? No. Fuck this, man. Fuck this. Fuck the backup goalkeeper.
Well, hang on.
Fuck these Ramsdale stories. Fuck.
Here's where I'm at with it. We're not in Europe. So we don't need to worry about the burned Leno, per se, if he were to play every game. Could it not be that Okonkwo, given that Bernd Leno stays healthy, but could Okonkwo not play in the first 2 rounds of the League Cup against, here again, the Blackpools, the Plymouth Argyles, the Sheffield Wednesdays of the Football Association, and he's basically a case of emergency, break the glass kind of thing, but at the same time, he, given the new contract and all of the hype that there was, not there was a ton of it, but the club put out made a thing about this. We're very excited to give Arthur Okonkwo his first, his breakthrough into the first team. He's getting a new contract, this, that, and the other thing. That would say to me that they have designs of him being the future number 1. So if he's going to be the future number 1, and I get this, he's only 18. I get it. I wholeheartedly disagree with just the idea that because he's only 18, he cannot be a useful player. Okay. How many? I mean, we see it in the only sport in the world where there's an exception to the age thing is the national football, is American football. That's a man's sport. An 18-year-old ain't going into the NFL and playing. It's just not happening. But you see it in ice hockey, you see it in baseball, you see it in basketball, and you see it in football. 18-year-olds, if they have the talent, I'm not saying he does right now, but give him a chance. That's
why Sigurdsson talks a lot of shit about American football.
Could we survive? I mean, that's obvious. No, I'm asking you to predict the
well,
future.
That's not
what I mean. Would you be comfortable in going into the first half and going through this summer and the first roughly half of the year, going till January with Okonkwo as the backup goalkeeper?
I don't know enough about him to answer that question. But I will say this, with no Europe, if he is the backup goalkeeper.
Hang on. Glenn, I have to interrupt you real quick. I'm sorry.
Oh, here we go.
Mike Hernandez just put out the absolute most ridiculous, and I know he's kidding, but I have to.
I know he's kidding. Oh, he's so cute. All right. Anyways,
he's the Lord of the Rings. He's the Lord of the Rings.
Oh my God!
I'm a Giants fan. I can't.
You're the only guy that gets to talk shit on him because they're his kryptonite.
I'm a Giants fan. I can't stand him, and I recognize he is the greatest quarterback I've ever seen in my life.
Anyway, I digress. Back to Arthur Oakland.
Yeah. So
Stan,
anyway,
you're chomping at the bit to get in here. I can see.
yeah, I'll be real quick. Because we don't want Stan's head to explode like scanners. All right. Here's the deal. All right. With no Europe, I'm glad you all got that obscure joke.
Michael Ironside.
With no Europe, all these little competitions are going to mean a little bit more to me, all right? Because they're as Stan likes to say, it's another game to watch, so I'll be rooting harder for them than I normally would be. So I don't want that kid, getting too much time as we hopefully advance through the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup.
Go ahead, Stan, and then let me jump back in on what Glenn just said.
Ideally, for someone like a Conqueror, whatever, I can't even pronounce it, one, right? What you want for him is that in those games where you would be playing your backup goalkeeper, you want a Conqueror on the bench for those games. So he gets the match day experience. And if something happens to that backup goalkeeper in that game, he can go in. He should be our third choice keeper. He still has a lot to learn in his trade. If we start with him as our second goalkeeper, and let's say second game in of the season, some oaf comes in and takes out Leno and he's out for 3 months, all of a sudden now he's thrown into it. It's over for me. I mean, it's baptism by fire. It could actually probably do more damage than good. I think that someone like Okonkwo needs to be on the bench when the backup keeper is playing in those games that he would play in, right? Runnison, he doesn't seem to have anybody's confidence. So it looks like they're going to be...
including his own.
But he's the perfect example, Stan, of why it's putting a lot of weight on an 18-year-old shoulders. Runners in right after game one, everybody get the fuck out. We don't want you here. Can this kid handle pressure like that if his first game's a disaster?
I saw that. I mean, I never watched the game, but I gather that in one of the preseason games that he made a mistake that led to a goal, I think. And I already saw that, he was getting a little bit, he was being judged about if he's good enough and that sort of thing. And these pre-season games, especially the early ones, they may look like they're a football match, but it's just glorified training. Hence the reason that Mikel Arteta played a 4-4-2 formation, because he wanted to get as many bodies out on the pitch as he could. We're not going to go into the season playing a 4-4-2, but half of the team weren't there. He had to use a lot of young heads, integrate some other people in. It was basically a long jog. That game was a long jog, but instead of jogging, they kicked the ball around against some opponents. So, I mean, look at Wayne Rooney, man. He took out one of his own players in training. And now it looks like he's going to... You not see all of that?
I didn't see it.
Some stuff in the paper
he's out for 9 to 12 weeks.
There was some stuff in the paper about him at the weekend where it looks like he's been tucked up by a bird. I'm not going to go into any of that. But then in training now, he's gone in for a 50-50 and he's literally taken out the player and the player's out injured. Something like you'd think he should know better, right? He should know when you're pulling out of a 50-50. But, that's what's going on. That's what's happening in the world. But, yeah, Okonkwo, it's got to be our third. We should have someone else in there. I don't know who. Has Carl Hein gone? Has he gone?
No, he's competing with Okonkwo.
Yeah.
He's in the same boat as Okonkwo. I think Okonkwo is better than him.
Okay.
But,
what about the other one? Iliev, whatever his name is, like an Eastern European name.
He's back out on loan for the year. Is Sanford Stan? I don't fucking know. He just went somewhere. I don't know.
Look, I agree, but
getting a backup goalkeeper on loan with an option to buy. Why can't we do that?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Here's the thing. The whole point of getting a backup goalkeeper is why we're linked to Ramsdale, why we're linked to Johnstone, is because we want this goal. We need a bridge to gap on Okonkwo to Leno. Leno will probably be for lucky another season, for another full season. Okonkwo is not going to be ready to start for us next season. We need someone that's going to come in, be Leno's backup, learn a little from him, and then take the job over. And then Okonkwo will probably come in and take over. So we need a young backup that could, get quick, pick up quick and do it, because Okonkwo's not going to be ready. And like Ray said, and I think other people said in the chat, which I was going to say earlier, Okonkwo already understood when he signed his extension, he knew he was going to be the third choice. He said it in his interview. So To be fair, though, gun to head, I wouldn't hate if he was back up till January. There could be worse situations. But do I want that? No. I want to focus on getting the backup goalkeeper right now. I'm not saying I want Ramsdale, but a Ramsdale type player, a John Stone type player that could come in. He's young, but somewhat Premier League proven. Learn from Leno a little bit, learn the Arsenal way a little bit, and then boom, take over. My money, who I want though, if it had to be me, it's going to be #orgasm for Oana. I want Oana. I think Oana is the perfect buy. I think he could do really good things for us. The only thing is the unknown.
You may as well give it to Okonkwo because he's not going to play for the first half of the season. He's not eligible to play until
But that's what I'm saying though. That's what I'm saying. Like if we could have him, it's just till November. I think it's till November is when he can start training, or is that when AFCON ends? I don't know. But I don't know. I personally just think we need to bring it back up, and now that could potentially take Leno over because I think they see the writing on the wall with Leno, and they're already ready to sell Leno at the season. So we need to get someone young that is ready. Nkoku's not ready. And he's 18, so it's fine. I don't care that he's not ready. And that comes from someone who I think he's going to be fantastic. I was watching him last season play for the academy, and probably maybe even 2 seasons ago. So I hope we could do something with that. But we definitely need to sign a backup goalie for sure.
So backup goal. Let's get into Ryan. You've wanted okay.
He's gone, mate.
What? No, say it.
I was going to go into the keep sell loan thing that you wanted to do here.
I want to do that. I could do that.
I mean, defender wise, I don't think there's really much to talk. I mean, I think we need to talk about the fringe players, but defender wise, we're pretty skint on defenders. I mean, the only one really is Kolasinac.
Well, all right, sell. There you go. I'll be back.
Can I just ask though as well? I mean, there's been a lot of talk recently as well that Callum Chambers. People are talking about a right back. We need a new right back, but apparently over the friendlies that we've been playing, people seem to be pretty impressed with Callum Chambers. But then the other talk coming out from within Arsenal seems to be that the coaching team and Mikel Arteta seem to be very impressed with Cedric. They're impressed with him in training. They're impressed with him in the fucking pre-season, and that he could be the #1 starting right back. I just wondered what your guys' thoughts are. I mean, that was when we talked about right back, Tanner. That was the first time you ever said that saying to me. Us going out to buy a right back now is like mowing a lawn while your house is on fire. The priority is just wrong. So looking at that, I just wondered what you guys' thoughts are at the right back position. Personally, I think that if Callum Chambers is earning his spot, then why not? People are saying, well, it's just in a good run of form, it will end. Well, then why can't we just milk it until it ends? It might end at the end of the season, right? So, I mean, if he's working hard and playing well, doesn't he deserve to get picked? Cedric, I don't think we're going to move him on anytime soon. We've got him in a 4-year contract, right? There's still 3 years left. It's going to be so difficult to move him on. So do you guys think that we should be looking to buy another right back, or is this something that you think that, depending on where else is needed, that we can handle this for another season?
Yeah, it's a difficult question. It went from not being a concern, but Bellerin said he wants to leave, right? That's a definite truth. Is that correct? So yeah, if Callum Chambers earns a spot, I rate Callum Chambers, but more as a squad player. But if he earns the spot, yeah, but I sure would like a backup if it's not just a run of form and he's gonna go backwards instead of forwards. So I would think we'd need insurance there.
But then Cedric, right? But Cedric
to me is a squad player. On my team, he's not in the first 11 ever. So, maybe you have more. You rate him higher than I do. I don't rate Cedric as anything more than a squad player on the Arsenal team that we all want to see.
Agreed.
Okay. So right back, Callum Chambers said number one. Well, this is really the only point.
Hold on. There's a third name you could even throw in there, right? AMN is back with us at the moment.
Yeah.
Even though he told us that he wants to play in midfield, but
this fan base needs to understand that the only teams in the world that can really come close to boasting world-class players at every position. And if you think about it, there's really only one. There's really only one team in the world that can boast world-class players at every position. And you know what? It's France. It's the French international team. Club teams just don't have world-class players at every position yet. For some reason, this fan base, despite the decade and a half of history of this ownership not spending money, not going out and getting the world-class players that they've been crying out for, still wake up every day saying, when are Arsenal going to buy the world-class player? When are Arsenal going to buy the world-class player at every single position? They want a world-class janitor at Colney. That's where this fan base is. This is what drives me nuts.
Yeah, well, you know the fan base is crazy. What's the name of that 18-year-old goalkeeper? I can't say his name.
Arthur Okonkwo?
Okonkwo.
Okonkwo.
The first time.
Like this. Oh, Conk. Whoa.
The first time Okonkwo pitches a shutout, half the fan base is going to say, sell Leno. So we can't go.
Right. But so my point being is this. It's not realistic to expect there to be a world-class player. And I love this. Everybody's naming like 3 clubs in the world. Man City. Nope. Sorry. They don't have a world-class player at every position.
But they're trying.
I'll even take it a step further because this fan base thinks we should have world-class players. We should go sign world-class players for the U23s. Like just the entire club. If you're 9 years old, you better be world fucking class. If you're going to play in the academy for this club at 9 years, you better fucking be world class. You can pack your bags and go. Man City doesn't have a world class player at every position.
I understand. I understand half
Bayern
the
Munich doesn't have a world class player at every position. Chelsea doesn't have a world class player at every position. They just don't. So I understand. Go ahead, Glenn.
No, I was just going to say, I understand what you're saying. You know, the half the fan base thinks it's like FIFA 21 where you can do that. It's not.
Right.
But the more rational fans, you know, are looking at the team saying, there's some nice little things on this team right now, but we're chasing 5 teams, in my opinion, and we need game changer at number 10 spot. I don't want to take a chance with ESR starting there and next to Partey. And I think that puts us in contention with everybody except Manchester City, owned by a billionaire. I mean, owned by an oil company. Oil country.
I was going to correct you. Now, my point being is this, so back to the question, right back. And let's face it, Hector Bellerin is still here too. So until Bellerin goes, and he's there, we have 3 guys, potentially 4 if you throw AMN in the mix, who I think over the course of the season, not being in European football, can get the job done. I like different things about Chambers. I like if I could create a player and take certain elements from Chambers, Bellerin, and Cedric, I think we'd almost damn near have the perfect right back because there are elements to each of their games that I like. I'm okay with Callum Chambers being the number 1 choice at right back. We can revisit the situation, and that's the other nice thing, though. We could revisit the situation in January. Is Callum Chambers going to be the sole reason that we are in 10th place in October? Could we really look at it and say it's Callum Chambers? It's nothing else. Arteta has completely fixed his problems. We're scoring goals at a record pace. Bernd Leno's making all the saves he possibly can. But Callum Chambers or Cedric even, no. It's not going to come down to one player. It's just not. They're serviceable. And in any sport, at any level, with any team, you need to have a few of those players who are just, you know what, they're not the greatest. Could we do better? Sure, we could do better. But they're serviceable, and hopefully they do a job for you. They do what they need to do. They do their job. That's it. They don't have to do it at a world-class level. Be serviceable. Do your job well. Not world-class, do your job well. And I personally – go ahead, Ryan.
No, I would say I don't even think Chambers has put a foot wrong since he came back from an ACL injury.
Nope.
So I don't get where all this is coming from.
Because it's not a transfer. It's not a 70 million pound transfer. It's like Wenger said when he bought Rob Holding. I'm sorry that he only cost 5 million pounds. But he's got to stink. He only cost 5. He stinks. And that's the thing, seriously. And honest to God, man, he wasn't wrong when he said that, because that's how a lot of this fan base looks at things. Like they look at Ben White and they go, Ben White's not worth 50 million. Ben White's worth 50 million because somebody paid it. So he's worth it. But Rob Holding's worth more than 5 million now, and I'm pretty glad that Rob Holding is a part of this team because he brings something. So anyway, the right back thing. I don't know, Ryan. What's your take on right back? You didn't. Really
I was listening to you guys, and you guys spot on. We can't be getting world class players in a position. We can't get world class players at almost any position for us right now. But yeah, it's.
Can I interrupt you just real? Let me say one more thing. I'm sorry, but real quick, just kind of popped into my head. But you know what? This isn't a world class player sport.
Yeah.
This is a team sport. It's a team sport. I want guys who are going to come in with coachability. That's a big one. Because I may not like his style of play, but I think Arteta's a good coach.
I was going to say, were you just possessed by Arteta? Because you sounded like his philosophy.
Well,
I
don't like his style of play. I just don't. I think it's boring. I think it's slow, and I think it's unimaginative. Maybe that's down to the players. Maybe it's not his style. Maybe we see something different this year. But what I've seen so far, his style is very unimaginative and very slow, and I don't like it.
I wasn't talking about his style. I was talking about the way that you were saying he looks at players. And to me, if he looks at players that way, then I'll just take my transfer expectations off the stove because, he's going to put ESR starting. He's going to put Willock next to Partey, I guess. I don't know.
I go ahead, Stan. You were going to say something. I wanted to get the team thing out there. That was what was on my mind, Ryan.
I also just wanted to ask as well, do we feel that, this thing about 40 million for Tammy Abraham, are we in the market for another striker? Are we happy with what we have? Basically what we have at the moment, if we stick, we've got Aubameyang, 31 odd, almost 32, I think. Then we've got Lacazette. And then basically we've still got Eddie and Balogun, who's now been promoted. There's talk about Eddie going. And then you've got a wild card in Martinelli, who they're trying to use in that position. So if a Tammy Abraham's coming in, if he goes out, someone's going to have to be going out. It sounds like the one that they keep talking about is Lacazette, because his contract's the one that's probably got the least left on it. He could run it down for a year after this season, but there's no nibbles. Apparently, I heard one rumour that Atletico Madrid was sniffing, but who knows if that's just bullshit, because they were sniffing, just before we bought him, they were sniffing around him.
And they were sniffing last year too, yeah.
Surely they've watched his form and thought, no, thank you. That's just me, and a lot of people probably wouldn't agree with me, but if he does go, then that does leave a big gap, doesn't it, between your senior striker, who would be Aubameyang, who there's no guarantee is going to be firing on all cylinders like he was, and then you got a big gap then until you got like your Balogun, if Eddie goes as well. So someone does maybe need to come in. But I just again wondered, how high is this on our shopping list? Is this something that we need to fix, or are you quite happy to stay exactly with the forwards that we have? No forward leaves.
I kind of agree with you. Our forwards are very streaky, but that's not where we need to be looking right now. I'd like to see Aubameyang and Lacazette play with a number 10 like Odegaard and maybe Maddison next to Partey. I think they would be imminently better with those two behind them.
But then are we going to play with Aubameyang through the middle and Lacazette on the bench if he's, he can come on if Aubameyang's not firing? Are we going to continue doing the old fucking magic shoehorn where we play Lacazette through the middle and just deploy Aubameyang on either flank depending on what Mikel Arteta feels like? Do you know what I mean? Because that for me always felt like it was a little bit of a quick fix. And we were just trying to get 250-odd million players into the team at the same time. And I always think that you should play one or the other. Play the one that's in form. Let the other one on the bench be biting at, chomping at the bit, waiting for his chance to get on. Maybe in a game where we're winning, a couple of goals ahead, we can take off an Aubameyang looking ahead to another fixture. And that other player comes on and he's chomping at the bit and wants to show the manager that he should be getting picked ahead instead of just trying to make everybody happy. and trying to just fit everybody in. It's about being competitive, not just trying to make everybody happy and feel comfortable. Do you know what I mean? Put some jeopardy in there. If I play shit, I might not get picked. A little bit of jeopardy, I think, has never hurt anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
competition is a good thing if that's what jeopardy means in UK slang. I have no problem with competition. I think it motivates people. And as far as which striker plays, you get me Maddison and Odegaard. I don't give a shit. I don't care who plays striker. Ryan and his semen-stained doll can play striker for us. I don't care.
Wow. Your semen-stained doll.
You hear that, buddy? Arsenal's find it.
Seriously though, you get Maddison and Odegaard, you can throw Chambers there. Give Chambers till the winter transfer. See if he works out. Yeah, you give me Maddison and Odegaard, I can put up with a lot.
I don't give it all this Chambers slant. I'm sorry, Stan. I'm still stuck on this Chambers thing because I get it. I think in an ideal situation, like if we're challenging for Champions League, we're challenging for Premier League, yeah, he's probably not a starting for us. But that's not our goal. Our goal isn't to win the Champions League. We're not even in the fucking Europa League conference. And you're worried about competing for Champions League. This fan space is worried about competing for the Premier League. We couldn't even achieve what the scum did in getting to some stupid fucking conference thing. I don't even know what it is. I can't even say because I don't even know what it is. So, you have to just take your wins and losses as they go. And to me, the right back, every position on the pitch is important. Don't get me wrong. It's important. To me, the way Arteta plays, which is we overload the left, we push fullbacks up, and sometimes either it was Partey, but sometimes the Partey's partner will slide in, be a back three. We'll go either 2-3-5 or 5-2 or 3-2-5, whatever. The right back is probably the least important position out of all of that. I think he does again, it's important, but it's the least important. And things that he does well is the things that he needs to do well. He's really good on the one-touch crosses. Yes. He's a very good defender, and he's done really well with Pepe. And I think the reason why we brought Ben White in was to help out Chambers because Ben White is really good at covering as a right back. So and to be fair, Chambers has played center back for us, which he's played for us in this preseason. He played, I think, against Rangers, and he played against Millwall. Yeah, he slotted in as center back, not the whole, probably 20 minutes. So he could do that, and I think that they're experimenting with that because Ben White's really good at charging forward with the ball. So if Ben White goes forward with the ball, you just have Chambers slot in as a center back. Chambers is a very versatile player. And I think he is very important to this team, whether he starts or doesn't start. And he's way better than Cedric and Bellerin. So I don't understand what all the fuss is about with him. Obviously, if we had money growing on trees and we're trying to really make a push for top four, and we got Partey's partner, we signed a world class striker, we signed a number 10. Then yeah, fine, maybe we should be linked with some right backs. But that's not. We have. Right back again. You said it earlier. I feel like that should just be our motto for our entire show. You don't mow the lawn when the house is on fire. There's absolutely zero need to even be linked with a right back right now. But yeah, that's that. And then I don't even know where I was talking about. I was just so caught in with Chambers. I don't get with all that. I guess I'm now big cranky.
We all like Chambers, though, Ryan.
I know, but I guess the fan base doesn't. He's a squad. And you said it, Glenn, and it's nothing against you, but he's a squad player. Yeah, he is, but he hasn't put a foot wrong since he came back from a serious injury that Bellerin also had. And look where, it's to me, it's two is the Rohan could help me out with this because he's a lawyer, the scale. Mm-hmm. They both tore their ACLs. You see Bellerin. And then Chambers goes up, So it's very interesting to see the trajectory of both of their Arsenal careers because now Bellerin's looking at to leave, and to me, I think Chambers has to play right back for us. I think he's good. He's good at what he does. He's going to help Ben. I think him and Ben White are going to help each other, and I think Pepe helps Chambers too. I think it's just also too based on how we play, and I guess to segue myself into talking about Tammy Abraham, I think Chambers' one-touch crossing is so good. I think he's going to help Tammy Abraham. Tammy Abraham is really good in the air. He's a really good finisher. I think this is where I think all of us you tend to disagree the most and have the most fighting is when we talk about our forwards and our strikers because we all I feel like see different things. I actually like Tammy Abraham. I don't know if I would pay $40 million for him. That's a lot of money, but I do like that we're linked with him. I think he makes us a better team. But in us taking on Tammy Abraham, we need to do a lot of surgery. We got to sell Eddie. We got to loan Balogun, and we probably need to get rid of either Aubameyang or Lacazette. We can maybe get away with keeping them both because Aubameyang is right now he's just depth because Saka's not playing, and Martinez at the Olympics, so we can kind of hold on to Lacazette and Aubameyang. But we need to move a lot of pieces to accommodate Tammy Abraham. And if Tammy Abraham came into this team, I think he's our best striker. Even if you don't sell anybody, let's say we just brought him in the hopes that we know we're going to move somebody. I think Tammy Abraham is our best striker, and I love Lacazette. And I completely disagree with you, Stan. He was our top goal scorer. Not that that's saying anything. I get that, but he also had the highest conversion rate in the Premier League. He had a higher conversion rate than Harry Kane. He had a higher conversion rate than Salah, Aguero. So
he's taking less chances.
Well, fair play. But even still, he's still scoring goals. It's not like he's not scoring, and he's not playing every game, and that's not his fault. I mean, I guess you could say it's his fault because he's not training well, according to Arteta, but he didn't start every game, and he's I still take that into consideration that he could score goals, he could finish goals, and he's a hard worker, and you could tell like in the preseason games he's working for his contract. And he wants to stay here. I genuinely think he wants to stay here. But me personally, I think he's starting to decline. So I think in a perfect world, I think you extend him for a year. You bring on like a Tammy Abraham again. Same with the Conco. You need to bridge that gap. I don't think Balogun's ready right now. I think we need somebody in the next 2 or 3 years that are really maybe not 3, maybe like 1 or 2 years. We need someone that can keep up because we need to get in the Champions League. Balogun is not getting us there in 2 years. Aubameyang, I'm sorry, I don't think he's getting us there. Lacazette, then I think Lacazette is a vital part to this team. Whether we cash in and get money for him to get Tammy Abraham or keep him on to do things. I'm a big fan of Lacazette. I think he is the best striker on this team for what we want to accomplish as a team and for what Arteta wants to accomplish tactics-wise. I think he's a very hard worker, and I think we need to utilize him more. And I think with our creativity stepping up, with maybe Partey getting into the final third quicker, I think Lacazette is going to be a tremendous help to us. And let's not forget, too, Pepe ended that season very strong for us, and I think he's only going to, again, help Lacazette, which, again, he did that against Millwall. Well, I guess Lacazette helped him out, but, yeah.
I think I'm with Stan, if I remember correctly here. I think using $40 million is a bit steep for Tammy Abraham.
Yeah, I said that. Yes,
I like the player. I like the profile of the player, but boy, that just screams to me that Arteta is building a team that is only going to score from crosses. So it's basically.
But Tammy Abraham doesn't just score from crosses, though.
I know he doesn't.
To be fair, he was the only Chelsea player that scored against us when they played us at the Emirates last season. He was our only goal, and it was not a cross. So it was a nice shot.
This is one that just started today, and if anybody saw this before today, correct me if I'm wrong, but Lautaro Martinez from Inter, and the reason that I'm bringing it up is there was a lot of talk about it today, but it's a deal that I think could, if we're talking $40 million for Tammy Abraham, there's a deal to be made here, and it goes back to what Glenn said earlier about the idea of swap deal plus cash. They want Hector Bellerin. We want $30 million for Bellerin. They're not going to come close to that. So I think their offer was like 17 or 18. So I'll tell you what, split the difference. If you want 70 for Lautaro Martinez, I'll give you Hector Bellerin. Let's value him at 25, and I'll give you 45 for Lautaro Martinez.
See, and that makes sense, all right? And despite how we all feel about the Arsenal front office, they're not stupid, okay? They know what they know what they need, okay? And I completely agree with you.
I'm not saying I would do the deal, Mike. It was something that came up.
Well, let's put it this way. This Martinez guy, he is like, well, not really anymore, but he was the best kept secret. He leaves it all out on the pitch, and the kid can score. I would be excited about getting him.
Lautaro Martinez, for me, is one of them players. I love hearing his name because he's the first time I ever heard of him was finding him on FIFA, maybe 3 or 4 FIFAs back. You know? Up there with Yusuf Atal. Up there with Thiago Almada. These people that you find in a game, and then you start to hear their name in the real life, and their name starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And for me, I would love to sign him because it's like my FIFA dream coming true. But also, he's a fucking very good player. You know, the hype. Whoever makes the game when they look at potential and who they think is going to cut the mustard in years to come, they got it right with him because he is. I don't think that we have a chance in hell of getting him personally. I would say that he's up there with Locatelli. Those 2 signings are not going to happen as far as I believe. There's no way that we'll sign Manuel Locatelli. Another one I found on FIFA, 3 or 4 FIFAs back. There's no way that we're going to get Lautaro. And I just think that just the very fact that we have no European competition, I would say that a player of his profile, if he is looking to move away from the club that he's at, surely his destination has to be a team that's beginning to like make a name for itself in the Champions League. That looks to me where he is at. You know, he's not going to come to Arsenal. There's no guarantees that we'll get into the Champions League at the end of this season. He might not even make the fucking Europa Conference thingy-majig that we don't know what it is. So as much as I would love it to happen, and I would love to see us push out the boat and spend 70 million on someone like him, I don't ever see it happening personally.
Now, I'm not saying I'm just going to defend. Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's ever going to happen. But also, too, like, I don't think the players are too as far apart as you guys are making it seem. Like, Tammy Abraham, he's proven the Premier League. Tammy Abraham has a better scoring record than Martinez. So, and Martinez plays in a not so good league. So, I mean, I don't know. And again, I'm not saying I would 100% buy Tammy Abraham over Martinez. No. But I think there's reservations to be had about this player, and to spend 70 million again. I don't think it's gonna happen. So this is all moving away. But I really think this Tammy Abraham thing is something we need to look into. I'm not saying we need to do it, but I just, and it's funny because I was at a wedding over the weekend, and one of my friends, big Arsenal fan, Ross, shout out to Ross. We were talking about Tammy. He wants nothing to do with Tammy. And his first thing he said was, which is most of the fucking fan base here, I don't want another Chelsea reject. And I go, if he wasn't playing for Chelsea, if he could have been literally, I could have told you he played for any other team in the world, you would have been like, and I gave you a stat, you would have said, yeah, let's go. Sign me up. But the fact that he plays for the blue team, the fact that he plays for Chelsea, it's all of a sudden, no, they don't do this. And then he made a comment like, oh, I don't want to fund them money for Haaland. I'm like, that they're gonna get him no matter what. Whether we give him 40 million for Tammy, get out of here. But yeah, I think that it's definitely something we need to look at, and I think that we need to just utilize all of our options because, especially at the striker position, there's a lot of movement that needs to be made. You can't keep Eddie and Balogun on the team, like on the Arsenal first team. Someone's either got to get sold, got to get loaned. Decisions got to be made about Lacazette. Are we going to let his contract right now? Are we going to extend him a year? I think Aubameyang's. Yeah, I agree, Mike. Thank you.
All right.
I think there's just a lot of things that in the striking department we need to address. But again, I'm still always going to say I want Partey's partner first and foremost.
Does anyone think that Tammy Abraham, and I actually think that both Martinez and Abraham, the fees that we're being quoted, I think they're both overpriced. To be honest with you,
I agree.
But do you think that Tammy Abraham is an upgrade on, say, a Danny Welbeck? Because I kind of put them in a similar bracket for me. I got won over by Danny Welbeck. I hated it when I heard that we were signing him from United. I was literally fucking frothing at the mouth.
Yeah, I was very excited.
Biting furniture. What the fuck are we doing? But he won me over as a person.
Yeah, Welbeck. I got excited about Welbeck. I remember his first shot hit the goalpost for Arsenal. I was like, oh, it would have been perfect. But as far as Abraham goes, yeah, he has an upside. But how high is that upside? I don't know. I do know that Chelsea don't care if he is their injury. If there's a lot of injuries, they're like, we'll sell him. I just, I'm tired of potential on Arsenal. Potential. It's like Marsha from the Brady Bunch. Potential. I'm sick of it.
Glenn, that's what rebuilding is.
Let me just drop the bubble on Glenn. You know that Marsha. She when she was like a teenager and all that, like coming off the set. Apparently, she'd shag for coke, mate. I watched a documentary about the Brady Bunch for some strange reason. I found myself watching a documentary about the Brady Bunch. But man, that's Marsha, dirty hoe, man.
I'm gonna look that up when we're done and I get my son to bed.
Really,
my favorite. Marsha.
But so I'm just tired of the potential thing. Abraham, maybe he'll do it. All right, go try for your potential somewhere else. We got bigger fish to fry.
But Glenn, that's the whole point of a rebuild. We need to build potential.
I hate that word rebuild.
I look at Tammy.
I
look at Tammy Abraham and I look at Alexander Lacazette, and I honestly do not see a serious upgrade on Oliver Giroud. I look at both of those players and I think I would rather still have had Oliver Giroud since the time that he's left. I think that the numbers wouldn't have been that far off. I don't think Lacazette's beat Giroud in numbers in the season yet. So I would rather have kept with Ollie, to be honest with you, because I don't see Lacazette or Tammy Abraham as being a vast upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I agree.
Let's think of this too. Where did Arteta cut his coaching teeth? Manchester City. They played last year without an out-and-out striker at times because the system isn't set up for one man to be a 25-goal scorer. That's just not the system that Pep plays. And Arteta wants to play the same system. And now I'm rehashing an idea or a thought that I've put out there before. But when we're talking about spending £40 million on a player that Arteta just simply doesn't value, in a position that Arteta just doesn't value, he doesn't value that position. And I don't see Abraham as being able to do. So I agree with Ryan on this. Lacazette is the player in that position that we need because of his hold-up play. That's Arteta wants the goals, number one, to be spread out. Spoiler alert. So we were going to do some predictions next week and the week after as we build up to the season. One of my predictions, and I'll just give it to you now since we're on the topic and I just can't shut my mouth. We know. I don't see anyone scoring 20 goals for Arsenal this season in all competitions. I just don't see it. I don't see anyone bagging 20 for us this season.
If you timestamp today's date on me saying this, I agree with you. Timestamp because it's August 31st. It's still a long ways away. But
I'll say this. But that's also not the goal. I think Arteta's goal is to have multiple players scoring 7 to 15 apiece and spreading out the goals.
But you still need that. I think you still need that.
I won't disagree.
Look what you said about Man City a moment ago about playing with the false nine. They were kind of forced into that a little bit by injury.
Yeah.
But then, even when Aguero started to get better, I do remember seeing games with both Aguero and Jesus sat on the bench. But obviously, I don't know, for whatever reason, Pep wanted to persevere what he was doing. But I think that position is important to him because Aguero's gone, and there's the links of Harry Kane for 100 million and some other players. They are going to spend big on another centre forward or striker, I think. And I think you like what you just said about a player scoring 20 goals. I look at the squad and I think there's only one player in our squad who I think is capable of getting it, and that's Aubameyang because he has done it. The other player that I think could get near it, and there's an outside bet, I'd put a cheeky fiver that could maybe get 20 goals, would be Nicola Pepe.
Yeah.
And I think in all competitions,
Yeah.
Well, when I say all competitions, if we were still playing Europe as in a European competition, then I would say even more chance. But with the less games now that we have, you think how many goals he got for us last season, and he wasn't always an automatic starter, right? He wasn't. He done quite well, and I think he's one player that I am quite excited about to see how he's going to kick on this season.
Yeah, that's. Can I just say real quick, BG? I'm sorry, because it follows up on what Stan said. Xhaka on the left, Pepe on the right. They both improved so much. This Abraham talk, 40 million, even 30 million. It's too much. Our offense is going to be better. We need those pieces, the number 10 and the midfielder. And I'm sorry, I sound like a broken record.
No, but you're right though. I mean, and I'm going to say it again. But even the striker position, the target man, the number 9, is in the same boat as the right back right now with building this team. Let's repave the driveway while the fucking house is burning down. I needed to figure out something else to do, Stan. I didn't want to go with mowing the grass. I feel like at this point we've mowed it.
Clean the windows while the house is on fire.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. It's Aubameyang, Lacazette, Eddie is still here, and Balogun, and everybody raved about Balogun a year ago. And Martinelli, and he's the one guy I always, for some reason, I always forget about Martinelli. But there you go.
Yeah, and they were also training Martinelli to be a striker last year. I don't know what happened with that, but Mike Hertz brought that up on the show.
Yeah, he played striker for us against West Brom, and he did not play well. But not for nothing. I don't think Martinelli's a striker for us, to be fair.
No, I think he's a left wing.
I'm just going with what the team was doing.
I know. No, you're right.
None of you guys, right? You know, because on FIFA 21, you can retrain players now for other positions. Don't tell me nobody's already. The first thing I did was like Martinelli.
Oh yeah. As soon as I heard that story, I was like, "Hey, sounds good to me." I did it too.
And the other one I did was for ESR, because he's obviously a cam on FIFA. I trained him up also as a left winger and a right winger, and they both. It's like a few weeks to do that from a midfielder, so I can bring him off the bench and play him anywhere.
I mean, when we talk about world-class players in every position, but let's look at this for a minute. Now, I'm not necessarily going to throw Lacazette into the world-class territory. He's not. No. I don't think he is. I love Alex Lacazette. But I'm also reasonable. He's not a world-class player.
He can't get in the French team ahead of Oliver Giroud.
Right. But Aubameyang, Lacazette, Pepe, Bukayo Saka, ESR, Gabriel Martinelli will come along. He needs a run of games, and he's got to stay healthy. That's the biggest thing for him, I think. But boy, oh boy, it's almost, to a degree, it's almost an embarrassment of riches if they could put it all together in attack. And we don't have enough space we don't have enough positions for all of these guys to get game time. So it's just the Abraham links. The Martinez thing, and I brought it up because I saw it there, and it was something that was making the rounds. That's not happening. I wholeheartly agree with Mikey Hers on that. It's not. That's just nothing but to fire up the fan base. It's not happening. But Tammy Abraham, I think the biggest question for me would just be, why? Why? What are you gonna do? Like, where's you got Aubameyang and you got to play him. Like that's everybody last year. You got to play him. What's changing going into this season?
If we were talking 25 million for Tammy Abraham, I'd be a lot more. I'm not saying I'm an accountant. And I know what every player should be worth. But just my opinion, us lot here, just chatting as we do as Arsenal fans, it just seems I would find it more acceptable, palatable, if the figure was around 20 to 25, because from 40 million. That's basically what we'd be paying for an Odegaard, right?
Yeah.
40 million isn't really far off what we paid for a Thomas Partey.
I'd feel a lot better with Abraham as the third striker than Nketiah. So yeah, I agree with Stan again.
I would agree with that too. I would take Abraham as the third striker, but is he going to really want to come in here and play third fiddle?
I think he's a backup striker, if anything. I don't know about third.
40 million.
I think it's too much. I don't think it's too much. And I think you said it, Ted. I don't know who said it, but I don't think he's a significant enough of an upgrade to make us better. And I agree. I just was floating it. Okay, I was just floating it out there. I know a lot of people are really slating him in the chat room. I don't think he's as bad as people are making him out to be, but I still prefer Lacazette. Granted, I think Tammy Abraham's probably a little more athletic. He's a lot younger, which again is kind of going, with our motto for our team. But I don't know, and I think it's funny because I was talking to one of my friends, Greg, who is watching. I was like, I just be ready. I might be shitting on Aubameyang tonight. But we haven't really even talked about him, and I'm not gonna bring him up just to crap on him, but I'm gonna. I think if we're getting rid of strikers, I think the first person we need to consider is Aubameyang.
Yeah, but you think Arsenal's in a rebuilding mode. You want ESR to start at number 10 when the season begins, and now you're ready to throw Aubameyang out for an unproven Tammy Abraham.
That's not. I didn't say I would sell Aubameyang for Tammy Abraham. I guess in a perfect world, I guess I would. You'd have Lacazette as a starting striker. You have Tammy Abraham coming in as backup. That's not what he's going to want to do.
Aubameyang and Lacazette, which one would you prefer to sell? Aubameyang.
It's not even a question. Lacazette is better for the team. Aubameyang just isn't. To me, the only reason why I'm not chomping at the bit to get rid of him is because he's going to be good cover for us for when Martinelli's at the Olympics. Xhaka is still on holiday. He has to play left wing for us. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts. He's going to be when the 11 comes out on Friday the 13th. Aubameyang is going to be our left winger. So,
okay, you think so?
He has to be. Who else is going to play? Who's going to be there?
Oh, I see what you're saying because who's right? But Saka's not going to play there.
Hell, he won't. I don't know if he'll be fit enough. He'll be on holiday. I don't know when he's. I mean, who knows? He might be. I don't think he will be though. I think he'll miss the first week of the season. Who knows? Maybe he won't.
Ryan, I never said why I agreed that if we had to sell one, Aubameyang or Lacazette, I would sell Aubameyang. I'm going to take BG's quote about Aubameyang from months ago. Aubameyang has all the confidence of a 12-year-old girl with acne. He's too hot and too cold. So
I think Lacazette's the same thing. I think Lacazette's the exact same way. It's funny you say that, but
okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you're selling Aubameyang really for one reason. Well, for two reasons. Number one, and I think first and foremost, you're going to get more money for him. You're going to get more money for him than you're going to get for any of the other two that you're going to say. You're not selling Balogun because he's thought of as the future of the club.
You think you'll get more for Aubameyang than Eddie?
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to get 20. Nobody's going to give you 20 million for Eddie. The best you're going to get for Eddie's probably 15. If anybody gives you 20, they've overpaid. Because what on earth has he done that's worth 20 million?
Then again, look at that kid that went from Liverpool, right? Where did he go to? The kid from Liverpool.
Went to
Rhian Brewster. Yeah.
And they got, what did they get for him? 20 million?
20.
I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean,
I think they overpaid. I think that's
the other guy, Solanke. He went to Bournemouth.
Oh, Solanke.
They paid an arm and a leg for him.
Yep.
I mean, he was really good, but
I don't think we can get more.
That Brewster kid, then you should say. I mean, I'm just spitballing. Yeah. You should say that Eddie you should be at least worth an extra 6 or 7 on top of that, right? More experience.
I cannot see us getting more than 25 or 30 million for Aubameyang. There's this running thread in sports right now when it comes to running thread. What was that?
I'd take the 20 to 30 million. We get rid of that. We get rid of that huge wage bill, and we invest in someone maybe around 26, 27. And again, you could drive up to Celtic, and I'm sure if you took a briefcase with 30 million in it, you'd come back with Edouard.
And I don't like talking bad about Aubameyang because I do like him, but the teams now are not paying for what you did early in your career. He's 32 now. They're not going to overpay for a 32-year-old.
Right. And the second reason that you're going to get that you would I would sell Aubameyang is because he just doesn't fit the system. He doesn't fit Arteta's system. Aubameyang is a runner. That's what he is. He's a ball over the top guy. Go get it and go score. He's not a guy that, okay, we're going to get into 30 yards within 30 yards of goal, and now we're going to get creative in here and we're going to figure out a way to score. That's not the way it's going to. That's just not him. That's not him. You slow him down, and you take away the one part of the game that can't be taught, and that's his speed. That's why. That's why you. That to me, that those two reasons right there, why you sell him over Lacazette. I'm with Ryan on the Lacazette thing. Lacazette. I mean, I'm sorry. Anybody that says that we were not a better team with Lacazette as the number 9 last year, or even a false 9, I don't know what to tell you.
We were last season.
We were
last season, but it was. I think a lot of that was because Aubameyang was playing poorly.
But I think Aubameyang
poorly. He was playing poorly. It wasn't like we had 2 players and Lacazette was just a bit better. Aubameyang, compared to what he has done for us, in past seasons, that last season was shocking for him.
But I think that stems from the system. I think that is system related. There are some guys that just don't fit every system, and that's a position that I think you have to look at your system and the players in the system, and you have to find a complementary player to put there. That's Lacazette. It's not Aubameyang.
I 100% agree with Lacazette is a better player than Aubameyang at this current stage. And you guys all bring up rightfully that, we were better when Laka was starting. Remember the season before? Laka was our player of the season. So, the stats and the form all say if you have to sell one, it's Aubameyang.
And, I mean, at least just for me, for the eye test, Lacazette is fighting for every ball. He's digging in the trenches. Aubameyang, you look at him sometimes, his mannerisms and his just say otherwise. There's just games where he just doesn't seem interested, and it's a shame because. And I guess I'll add to you, Tanner, another reason why I want to sell Aubameyang. I want a new captain. I'm shocked we haven't named a new captain. We need new leadership. We need
give it to Tierney.
I bet Rohan's ears are fucking burning with this.
Yeah.
Guys, I have to go. It was a pleasure as always. Are we back now, BG? Is this an every Tuesday thing?
Yeah, we're going to get back in every Tuesday.
As long as you're here, Glenn.
All right, guys, take it easy. I got to go. I'm sorry.
All the best, Glenn. Thanks, mate.
Real quick, somebody put up a question here. Now, I don't know if this is a legitimate question or not. I don't know if this is if you're being tongue-in-cheek when you say this, or if you're asking the question, or if you think you know what the answer is and you're wrong. But who scored the goals for Arteta's system? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it was Alex Lacazette.
And Pepe.
That's who scored the goals for the system. Aubameyang had 10 in 29 games played. Lacazette had 13 in 31 games played. Nicola Pepe had 10 in 29 games played. So he and Aubameyang were tied for 2. But Alex Lacazette, he was your top goal scorer last year with 13.
And to be fair, if you look at Lacazette,
what's that saying?
I just think it's because Aubameyang had an off season. That wasn't his usual, what we expect. Unless we're saying then that it's over now. What we're now seeing last season, this is now going to be Aubameyang moving forward. Then we're in the fucking brown and smelly big time, and we need to make a change. Or was last season a blip, right? He didn't like the haircut he had for part of the season. He had problems with his family, this, that, the other, COVID, malaria, Or it's one or the other. Or he's fucking done. A bit like when Fernando Torres left Liverpool and he was never able to recapture what he did at Liverpool when he went to Chelsea, even though he did score quite a lot of important goals for Chelsea. But it's a gamble. And who's going to take him on the sort of money that he's on? No one. There is no one out
we're
there
not selling him.
come even close to what we're paying him, right? Not even close. I would say that he'd be lucky to get 150 grand somewhere.
Right.
He'd be lucky to get 150 grand a week.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
and
he's not going anywhere.
that's a huge decline from what he's getting now. So we're stuck with that.
I guess to Stan's question, I don't think Aubameyang is going to have the season he had last year, but he's not going to have the season he had 2 seasons ago,
right?
Where he was tied for the Golden Boot. He's going to be somewhere in the middle, and I know they're the striker, so you have to go by goals. I get it. Lacazette does so much more than score goals for this team. He's just a worker. He wins balls. He wins us so many free kicks right outside the 18-yard box. He's very important to this team. He's more of a team player. He also, too, when they interview all the when they interviewed Xhaka, when they interviewed ESR, I think when they interviewed Nuno, not Lukunga, I don't think, but they were like, "Oh, who's the guy?" They said Lacazette. Lacazette is great with the younger kids. He's got a chubby for the kids, and
that was Jimmy Savile, but that's another story.
So I just think Lacazette's what we need to prefer. Question is, but that's the thing is, what do you do with Aubameyang? You're not gonna have a captain when Martinelli, when Xhaka, when they all come back. What are you gonna have? You're gonna have Aubameyang on the bench, Lacazette starting? I mean, yeah, maybe a game here and there, but I think Arteta's gonna have to. I think he's gonna just force his hand and persist with Aubameyang, which is why I'm shocked we haven't named a new captain this season. Just doesn't really make much sense to me.
I look at Richard Garrett's question in the chat box there. Odegaard Edouard is linked to Brighton. Can you fucking believe it? And I look at that and I think to myself, all right, we get a lot, there's a lot of gossip in the transfer windows, but if something like that actually happens, why should I not get fucking angry if that happens? Because for one, the fucking transfer is going to be funded with the money we fucking shell out for Ben White. You know what I mean? So we basically facilitated that. This is exactly the kind of profile of player that I think that we should be going for, who would be a good buffer between someone of Aubameyang sort of age and stature in the game and someone like a Martinelli or a Balogun, someone like a Odegaard Edouard, who is proving that he knows where the goal is, but still has a little bit more to prove and would probably, play socks off for Arsenal. For me, would be a perfect, kind of profile that we're looking at. And I go back earlier, we talked about Aaron Ramsdale. 30 million for Ramsdale, 40 million for fucking Tammy Abraham. It kind of just reminds me of that 75 million that we spent combined on Granit Xhaka and Skodra and Mustafi. I think that is the fucking worst 75 million we've ever spent.
I thought Edouard was already signed for Leicester, but I looked it up. He actually isn't. I don't know why. I thought I saw he signed months ago.
I thought I saw he signed.
Who's that?
Edouard.
I thought Edouard signed for Leicester. That's why I was linked up right now. But it depends too. I think people underestimate the changing of leagues, and just players changing teams. I remember. Not everybody was on board, but we were linked with Ryan Fraser for a transfer window and a half, and everyone's like, "Yeah, he could be good. He's a good idea. We could maybe fit him in, and he could be depth in this." He couldn't even make it at Newcastle. Yeah, I don't even think he saw Newcastle. Newcastle picked him up, and he couldn't even get games at Newcastle. So, you go to I guess Soyuncu is actually doing pretty well in Leicester, but he's someone I really would have liked as center back.
Right, is it not swings and roundabouts? Maybe the same could be said from other people outside of Arsenal looking in. Could say, look at Joe Willock, couldn't make it at Arsenal, and then they're like, oh, look at him at Newcastle, scores in 7 games in a row.
That's because of the system they play. We're never going to cater to Joe Willock. We're never going to play a counter-attacking 4-3-3. It's just not going to happen. That's why I don't know. I think we need to milk him for all he's worth to Newcastle. I think we could sell him for some change to Newcastle. I think Steve Bruce really wants him. He fits his system perfectly, and he's not going to get better. What is he? 7 goals in 7 games. Not going to do better than that. Not going to do better than that. Just strike while the money's hot. But it's tough. Strikers. I think, like you said, Dan. I think strikers just an odd position for this club because for what Arteta wants to do, a striker is not all about goals. You watch Lacazette, not all about goals. I'm not going to bring up the ESR as a false 9, but we've done stupid shit like that.
I don't want my team, this is just me being greedy and selfish. I don't want my team to be playing in a system where a striker is a bit part player. We have a false 9 where they're really tucked in and they're doing that Bobby Firmino. I'm old school. I like forwards. For me personally, I would love us to be playing a formation that has 2 people playing up front. When I play FIFA, my formation has 2 strikers up front. The name of the game is scoring goals, and strikers are the ones that are the best equipped to do it. So why would you reduce it? I know that the way the world has changed, the way that we play now with the 3 at the top, 2 wide forwards, and this central striker. But probably why I don't play FIFA with other people online, because my formation would probably get smashed to bits in my 4 wide diamonds with 2 up top. But I play on a very low setting when I play against the EI, so I never lose. So that doesn't really bother me, right? But I would love to see us. I mean, we went out and spent nearly 100 million on 2 strikers in Lacazette and Aubameyang, and I really think that we should have somehow persevered with a formation that had them playing together. However, I looked at one of the friendlies that we played. We did play 4-4-2, and Nketiah and Aubameyang, and it was Aubameyang that was the one that didn't look like he knew what he was supposed to be doing with a partner up front. And you'd think that he's the one that's got the experience and must have played the formations along the way with a striking partner. And from what I could see, Mikel Arteta was constantly telling him where to be and where to go, not Eddie. So,
because Aubameyang is he's one style of player. He's not versatile enough to play in these different in the different systems that Arteta might want to try to implement. Or Aubameyang, and God bless him for it, because he was one of the best in the world at the top of his game, but he's a straightforward player. That's what he is.
It sucks too, because if you look at like for instance, what he did against Millwall, that bicycle kick was phenomenal. Hit the crossbar, Chambers bangs in the rebound. He's still capable of great moments and doing great things, but it's like Premier League. You look at like all these X factors. It's like those are going to get less and less. But the fact that he can still do those things, I'm not saying he's a bad player. I still think he's got some fuel left in the gas tank. But based on what we want to do and it being the hardest, fastest league out there, I don't know. I think we should just roll our dice elsewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. To me, it's a no-brainer. I mean, it's just not a position of need right now. I don't think. I mean, I'll put it this way: I would start Lacazette. Lacazette would be my starter. He's the guy that's and Aubameyang at the beginning should probably start on the left wing, because I don't think that Xhaka is going to be ready to go in 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks. I just don't think he's going to be ready. But eventually, you drop Aubameyang, because Lacazette fits the system better. The system is more productive with Lacazette in there, not Aubameyang. But I'm not mad about Aubameyang coming off the bench. If he's the number 2, I'm not upset about that. And by no means am I saying, and I've said this before, number 1, I don't think that Alex Lacazette is a better striker than Aubameyang. But I think Lacazette is a better overall player.
Team player.
I think he's just a better overall player than Aubameyang. But Aubameyang he does one thing. His job is he does one thing. That's score. And in this system, because he's a very specific type of scorer. If he's playing on the left, what's he going to do? If he's playing on the left wing and he's got the ball on his foot and he's taking a defender on one-on-one, what's he going to do? He's going to cut to the middle, put the ball on his right foot, and go for that, and either try to curl it in near post or bang it in far post. Lacazette is a guy that's going to hold up the play and create and hopefully create space for other players to run in. Aubameyang's just not going to do that. And in Arteta's system, I think, especially the attackers have to they take on multiple responsibilities. Aubameyang just doesn't do that. He just doesn't do it. He's a guy that just my job is score goals. I'm not doing anything else. My job is score goals. But I don't want it to come across like I don't like Aubameyang. I just think Lacazette, it goes back to system. That being said, I don't like the system. Said that before. But we're stuck with it. It is what it is. And I think you have to find the players that are going to fit the system the best. The Tammy Abraham links, I don't get, because the only thing that he's going to bring that Lacazette doesn't is the aerial threat, right? Are we like, is that real? This is where we're at now, where we're just firing in crosses left and right and hoping for the fucking best? This is an NFL team that runs the same play over and over again and hope they get lucky. And it's a Hail Mary. That's not an attack to me. So
for me, I've always felt that with Lacazette's strengths and weaknesses, playing him in that kind of a false 9 where he comes deep. And you may remember over a season ago when I had to take the piss and I referred to him as a false 8, who's playing so fucking deep. He was like playing as a false 8. He hasn't got the passing range for that deep role. Alexander Lacazette, from what I've seen, his best role is like he's very good at working in very tight spaces. He can be sort of like to the very side of the goal with players around him, and somehow he can jink out in one turn and curl out a shot and still beat the keeper. But I'm not sure. You know, he's very good in the box and very good at one touch, a quick turn and a shot. Very strange angles he can work the ball in. But yes, he can hold the ball up and slow the game down. But I think his passing when he releases the ball after that is very suspect.
It is. Yep, I'd agree with you there.
You know what I mean? So if that's the way that Mikel Arteta wants to play, he needs someone better in there.
Sure.
To not only slow the game up so that people are running into the space, but he needs to be able to get that ball to one of these runners.
Right.
So, and I don't see that he does that. He doesn't do that enough, which is one of the reasons why our goal tally has been quite low.
Right.
But I agree with what you're saying. Out of him and Aubameyang, he's better suited to try that style.
Right.
Than Aubameyang is. Do you know what I mean? Because Aubameyang is probably a worse passer than fucking Lacazette.
I mean, it's not even that he's a worse passer as much as it is he's probably not going to look to pass. He gets that close to goal, he's looking to do one thing. You want, and here again, let's go, like you said before, let's go old school, baby. That's what you want. You want your finisher to that be ruthless, man. Be clinical in front of goal. That's what you want. But it's just not the system that Arteta plays. And whether you like it or not, and I do not like it. Now,
has he been playing a certain system because of the players that he's got? Do you see where I'm coming from? You know what I mean? Well, I'm going to play this system because this is what I'm working with, and I'm going to get the best out of them.
That's what he did when he came in before the pandemic hit, when we won the FA Cup, when we beat Liverpool in the Community Shield. That's exactly what he did. He looked at the team that he had, and he said, this is a counter-attacking football team. We're going to absorb the pressure. We have a guy who can run you into the ground in Aubameyang. And we're gonna and Pepe, quite frankly, although he's not as technical dribbling the ball as what Aubameyang is, because I think Pepe's feet get moving faster than his brain sometimes. Where all of a sudden, like he's running, and all of a sudden he just his head gets out over his hips, and then he just falls over. I'm not saying he does, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But those two guys are just ball over the top finishers, not necessarily ball over, but run at the defense. Take the defender on one-on-one. And finish. Look to finish. That's not what Arteta did. And Tony Turner, perfect timing. Last season, this is exactly truer words have never been typed on this show ever. Last season, he forced the system he didn't have all the players for. Exactly. That is exactly right. And that is why this was not Aubameyang hitting a wall and his talent starting to decline, or his energy, or anything else, his ability start. That's not it. It's the system. And I'm not blaming Aubameyang for that at all. It's the system. That's why he fell off. And this is why we were so poor last season, because the system requires certain things from certain positions that we didn't have the players for. But I don't want to necessarily bring him up, and I don't know if Ryan is still listening or not, but Granit Xhaka, one of the things that Mikel Arteta requires of his players is smarts. He wants intelligent footballers. I know the mistakes that he made, but the fact is he valued Granit Xhaka. And I'm telling you, he valued him because of what was up here more often than not.
It's one of the reasons why when I saw that we had links with Ruben Neves, I was really excited, because not only do I like Ruben Neves, but I think that for what I think Mikel Arteta is trying to play and what he wants, and then one of the reasons why Xhaka was so valuable, or is so valuable to Mikel Arteta, I think that Ruben Neves would go in and he would be able to do all of those things, but better.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And I kind of look at Xhaka as a kind of a B-Tech version of Neves.
Yeah.
The kind of midfielder that Neves is, and I like Neves as a footballer. I just think that that's what Xhaka is, but he's a very lower grade in that same bracket of style of play.
Yep. And I'll tell you this too.
He's
Ryan,
quicker. He's got more. He's more mobile. He's got.
Well, that's another.
I'm not going to say that he's got a bigger engine because Granit Xhaka can keep running all day long. You know, he's never fucking breathing out of his arse at 90 minutes.
Right.
But I think he's got a better passing range, better turning circle, and I think his long shots are better than Xhaka's as well.
The other thing that I'll say, everybody keeps talking about the replacement for Xhaka, the replacement for Xhaka, the replacement for Xhaka. We have the replacement for Granit Xhaka. He's here already.
Who, Ryan?
Wait, are you agreeing with what I do? Are you
I know what you're gonna say, and I was literally coming back to say what you were gonna say. I'll give you the honor since it's your show.
I don't know if I'm going to say the same person you're thinking of. It's not El Neni. It's not El Neni.
No, it's not El Neni.
And he plays regularly.
Yeah.
And he was last year the guy that everybody wanted. He's the guy that's going to make it big now.
Keep going.
You got to fight for your right to Thomas Partey.
I agree.
He's already here. The replacement
for
Granit Xhaka is already here. It's Thomas Partey. That's his job. That's his role. The role we need to fill is the defensive midfielder role now. That's the role that we need.
Yeah.
Yep. And when I read the interview with Sambi Lokonga, it was because again I don't follow him at Anderlecht. I never fucking heard of him. I'm not going to pretend that I did, but from his own mouth, he said that his favoured position is number 6, which for me, number 6 is a defensive midfielder. In some other countries, it's a number 4. I think in the UK, it's a number 4. I always call it a 4. But that's what he says. And I was thinking, okay, so then if he plays next to Partey, that means that Partey is moving. Partey's a box-to-box player. You know, he's a box-to-box player that can also put out fires as well. Same as Patrick Vieira. I don't believe that Patrick Vieira was a central defensive midfielder. Nope. He was a box-to-box midfielder that could also look at the defensive side of his game. Gilberto, on the other hand, for me, is an out-and-out CDM.
Yep.
Yeah.
And again, and I'm just saying, and I don't want to bring it back up again because we already talked about him. But Stan, you and I agree on this. If we could get his head right,
Lucas Torreira.
That CDM's already here too. Yep.
Yeah,
exactly.
CDM's already because when he played his best ever, when he was at his best, the World Cup in 2018, and when he first started with us, he hit a wall. I think he wore down towards the end of that 2018-19 season, and that's where I think Unai Emery started. For some reason, I'm going to move you further up. And it just didn't make any bloody sense to me. I don't think it made sense to anyone. And then there were rumors that, he wanted to move, like he wanted to be more involved in the attack. And it's like, that dude, he's an absolute bulldog back there winning the ball in front of the back four. That's what he does.
Yeah. He runs out fires.
He was being compared. He was being compared in that 2018-2019 season in the summer, the World Cup, and then the first half of that season, he was being compared to the reigning Champions League player of the tournament, N'Golo Kante. He was Arsenal's N'Golo Kante. That's who he was going to be. Now, he can't get his head right. I get it. He's got to go. And you're never going to you'll be lucky to get back half what you paid for him. And that has as much to do with the market as anything else. But that he just I personally, and this may sound silly of me, I'd try to keep him for one more year. I'd be like, I can't speak Spanish, Lucas Torreira, but if I could, this would be translated to English. But give me one more year. Let's figure this out. Give me one more year because there's a player there, and you could play a massive role for this club.
I think that some of the names that are being linked as the party partner. It would mean then that we wouldn't probably have an out-and-out CDM, but those two players would have to take a share of that portion of the duty and make sure that, when one's moving the ball forward, the other one's not left a load of space as well. Because I don't think that Thomas Partey can do that job, but it's not where he's best utilised. I see him more as a box-to-box, a little bit more as a box-to-box midfielder. So, I don't know too much about Basuma, not as much as Ryan does. So, Ryan, if we did, for example, bring in the guy that you like, which is Basuma, would that mean that who would be the furthest back in front of the defence, Basuma or Partey? Okay. So that
he'd be right in front of the center backs.
So that would
right
work out, that would kind of work out very nicely. Whereas I think a Ruben Neves, again, he does have a defensive part to his game, but like Tanner said, and I said a little bit earlier, he's more than Xhaka, right? And I never felt that Xhaka was a defensive midfielder. You know, he could slot in sometimes at the back and help shore it up, but he's not a CDM. You know, most of the time he'd just pull a player down to the ground, right? That was his way of tackling. Player would run past him, he'd pull him down to the ground. So, yeah, interesting. So interesting how we're going to do that in the middle of the field, right? Are we going to go for an all-out CDM? Are we going to go for another box-to-box?
I'm just watching the cat. Like he or she got right there. It's like do just scratch my butt. I mean, look. I mean, if I could get away with it, I'd do the same thing. I'd crawl across your computer and see if you'd scratch my butt too. Why not? But we could do this all night, guys, and we're at 2 hours and 20 minutes. I say, you know, we're back next week. We'll do a couple of, you know, preview prediction things in the next 2 weeks, and then it all gets real. We kick it off. It's not all fun and games anymore. Now we're playing for real. So, Ryan, I'll give you the last word on tonight's show, and I apologize that we did not continue with the keep, sell, loan thing. I hate to
much more important things to talk about.
Well, I think at this point the ship has sailed on that. But hey, save it for next year. Save it for next year. Actually, save it for January. Save it for January. So, final word.
No, I'm excited to watch the Arsenal. Hopefully I'm very positive in that we're going to be making more signings. So everyone's got to hang tight because we always like to do our business at the very end. Problem is we need to get rid of a lot, and that is going to, happen soon because then we need to sell them, buy certain players. But I'm on pins and needles because I need to see what we're doing for Partey and like who's going to be his partner, because to me, Nieves and Bissouma are two different players. So it's going to be interesting. I have a strong feeling we're not getting Bissouma or a Bissouma type player. I just don't think that's the way we're going. I think we would have been linked with him more if we were going in for Bissouma. And like I said, the last couple of weeks, I think we went in going for Bissouma, came out. Ben White, yeah, all right, yeah, cool, we could use him. Let's get Ben White. So I think the Bissouma thing's kind of done, sailed, but but there's still players out there that we could secure that would make us better and help us out. And Nieves, although a different type play than Bissouma, I wouldn't hate. So yeah, only time will tell. I'm excited to watch us play Chelsea in a friendly on Sunday, so that'll be fun.
Yeah. Stan, shout out the chat and final word.
Yeah, man, we had quite a lot in there tonight. You're Not Sentiment FC, Tony Turner, Ryan, Benjamin Bell. That's a new name. Don't know Benjamin Bell. Also, Richard Garrett's not a name that I've seen any before, but he made a lot of good points this evening in the chat box. Mm-hmm. The Return of the Cat. There you go. Mike Mosley. That's decided right about it. Return of the Cat. Yeah. It is. Who else was in tonight? I can't scroll back. Yeah, I know Mike Mosley and Ian Matey, and I'm sure I saw Benjamin in here earlier. Mm-hmm. Benjamin, I hope I've not missed anybody out. Let me just scroll back. Yeah, I think that's mostly it. Gary's in there. Rudy Sarkar's in there as well. Mike, who's just left. But my final thoughts is, again, I'm just going to say, we've got 3 weeks now until the transfer window shuts. Let's just try and keep our shit till then. If when that transfer window shuts, if we haven't done what we've needed to do, I'll be out there rattling my saber with the best of them for sure. Because that's what we're going to be left with for the rest of the season. You look at a player, you look at a player like Willian. How do you pitch that to a buying team when you want to sell him? Excuse me, would you like to buy this mistake that we made? It's very hard to frame how you actually get rid of a Willian because everybody's seen what's happened. Everybody knows that we've made a big blunder. So we've just got to hope that we can get nibbles for a Kolasinac, a nibble for a Bellerin and try and, we don't want to start next season with players that know that they're not wanted, and it's just going to. Might be a bit of an atmosphere around the place. We want to make sure that that's not going to affect any of the hard work that needs to be done. Especially, we don't want our younger players seeing older players who are training because they're a bit pissed off because they know that they're not really where they're supposed to be, so they're not putting maximum effort. But the younger players just see, oh, is that how we train? You don't get in that. I want that away. I want all of that kind of stuff away. Any sort of negative feeling, and let's really try and hit the ground running. We've got a couple of really good friendlies coming up, haven't we? Chelsea, I think Ryan mentioned, and also Tottenham. It'd be good to see how we shape up against some of our rivals, but I'm not losing my shit until that transfer window shuts. Yeah.
Well said, guys. And obviously from my standpoint, thanks to these three guys, Glenn included, and there's four guys, Gary moderating the chat for us. He had to dip a little early. But always a pleasure to be on with you guys, chat a little footy with you. We'll be back next week, 9:45 p.m. Eastern time, 6:45 on the West Coast. We'll probably be late again. And again, why not? It's just all the cool kids are late now. So that's just the way we roll. But next week and the week after will be a bit preview prediction kind of stuff. We'll get into it more. Hopefully we have some more transfers to talk about, potentially talking about Ben White being confirmed, although I would say that's pretty much a done deal. But join us next week, same bat time, same bat station. If you are not already, please subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs out on your way out the door if you haven't already. But if you're not already subscribed to the channel, no matter which channel you're watching on, be it Same Old Arsenal or be it BG Media, please drop us a subscription on either one or both, preferably. That would be great. That's all we got for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for staying with us, sticking around for 2.5 hours. We're out of here. Good footy talk. We'll see you out there.